Elementary School District Board of Education is now in order. Welcome, everyone. All board members are present except for Vice President Tamayo. We will now approve the agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
I second.
Moved by Trustee Dominguez Cervantes, seconded by Trustee Tolston. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 4-1 absent. Oral communications on closed session items. The oral communication section provides the public with an opportunity to address the board on closed session items only. Persons wishing to be heard may attend in person and should complete a request to be heard card and submit it to the recording secretary before the start of the meeting. Speakers are requested to limit their remarks to 3 minutes and speak in a respectful and professional manner. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each topic to 20 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public comments depending on the number of persons wishing to be heard. No board action can be taken. We have no speakers. We will now adjourn to closed session in accordance with the following. Government Code Sections 3549.1D and 54957.6, Collective Bargaining Employee Negotiations, LLP, and Adams, Silva, and McNally, LLP. Employee Organizations, Chula Vista Classified Employees Organizations, Chula Vista Educators, Non-Represented Employees, Administrators Association, Chula Vista. Government Code Section 54957B1, Public Employee Discipline Dismissal Release, and Government Code Section 54957, Public Employee Appointment Employment Title, Senior Director of Leadership and Learning. Closed session announcements will be made by the clerk.
The employment title, Senior Director of Leadership and Learning.
We were all there.
Yes, 5-0. Amaya was there.
Oh, what was the
Appointment, I said appointment public employee. That's the title, Senior Director of Leadership and Learning.
And our appointee is Dr. Erin Magnan.
Governing Board, it's my pleasure to introduce our newest administrator to the Chula Vista Elementary School District, Dr. Magnan.
Good evening, board. Good evening, Dr. Reyes, cabinet. It's not an honor, it's a pleasure, it's a joy. I really, really love being up here right now. I was a student at Vista Square Elementary School. I was more than a stone's throw from here. I participated in the spelling bee in room C, 4th grade. I got 14th place. I just truly appreciate the opportunity, and I can't wait to work alongside our leaders to improve not only outcomes, but improve all the collegiality we have here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations. The open session of the regular meeting of the Chula Vista Elementary School District Board of Education is now in order. Welcome, everyone. All members are present. And in honor of Women's History Month, Ms. Casey, if you'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will now approve the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda with flexibility?
Motion to approve with flexibility.
Second. Moved by Trustee Ramirez Dominguez, seconded by Trustee Dominguez Cervantes. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. And before we did flexibility, we'll be moving item 10 before our communications to the Board of Education. This is the special recognition awards and honors. We are recognizing the 2024-2025 speech contest winners in grades 4 through 8. An honorable mention, Dr. Reyes.
So it is with great pleasure to share with you that we had our speech contest this last week. We had the pleasure of being one of the judges for the finals. And today we have our four finalists, fourth grade, fifth grade, four first place winners, fourth, fifth, sixth, and middle school. And we also have honorable mention. I can tell you, and you'll see it shortly, that these students are not only inspiring, talented, but they have a gift. They have a gift that if they continue expanding this gift, they're going to go so far in life. So it's with great pleasure that I announce our first place winners and our honorable mention.
Thank you.
So first, you'll get to hear the speech of each one. So we'll start with fourth grade, Allegra White.
Hello everyone, my name is Allegra White. I'm a fourth grader at East Lake Elementary. And today, I'd like to ask you something. Do you have a hero? Have you ever had one? When I think about my future, I think about my heroes. The amazing women in my life who inspire me every single day. I think about my teachers, my mom, and my grandmoms. They are my guiding stars, showing me what it means to be strong, kind, and brave. Did you know children who have role models in their families are 5 times more likely to achieve a successful career in their future? Isn't that incredible? The women in my life are guerreras, warriors. They put a roof over our heads and food on our tables. They're also the champions of love. They teach me how to care for others, how to dream big, and how to make space in my life to help the less fortunate. And that's why I take a moment to honor their journeys. Because when you know where you come from, you can better imagine your destination. Speaking of journeys, let me share a beautiful fact about nature's most inspiring travelers, the monarch butterfly. In late fall, monarch butterflies from Canada and the northern United States begin an epic migration to South Mexico. But here's the amazing part. It takes 4 generations to complete their journey. Much like the monarch butterfly, I hope to carry on the dreams and sacrifices of those who came before me. And if I ever had the chance to meet my future self, I'll first of all take her face in between my 2 hands and tell her, I love you and I'm so proud of you. I'll remind her that she's beautiful and that her worth comes from within and that it runs generations deep. I imagine my future self looking back at me and saying, keep going, échale ganas. We've got this, stay disciplined. And after hearing her advice, I'll have something to say to her too. I'll tell her to never forget the child I am today. The one who dreams, who smiles, and who always finds joy, no matter how hard life gets. I'd say, future me, never let go of your inner child. When life gets tough, and we know it will, there will come times we will cry, and times we wish you could change the past. When these painful times come, let me take over and make you smile. When you cry, remember that baby me was born crying, so tears are nothing to fear. Let them come and they shall pass. And it's okay to make mistakes. We'll learn, just like we learn fractions and science and everything else in life. But here's the most important lesson to future me, to keep me alive in your heart. It's a masquerade. Call your friends, hug your parents, dance in the rain. Never, ever let go of me. To my future self, I'd say, don't worry too much of what it'll become, because you have the potential to become anything. But you'll be in the right path by honoring your family and keeping your inner child alive. Future self, be your best self, and no matter what the future brings, always remember the present is always, always a gift. Thank you very much.
Our fifth grade first place winner is Vincent Oka.
Hello everyone! Today I want to share something unique. A letter to my future self. It's like sending a time capsule full of thoughts, dreams, and questions to a person I'll become one day. Here's what I'd say. Dear future me, first things first, how's the hair situation? Right now, I have this hairstyle that I think is totally cool. But let's just say, Mom and Dad don't agree. In fact, every time they see me, they give me the look. You know, the one that's like, what were you thinking? Are you still rocking the same rebellious style? Or did you finally settle on something more parent-approved? I hope not. Be honest, does it still drive them a little nuts? And while we're at it, let's talk about my wardrobe. Right now, I'm all about baggy clothes, baggy pants, and baggy shirts. My parents think I look like I'm drowning in fabric. But I think it's practical. I mean, oversized clothes last longer, right? If they're too big now, they'll still fit years from now. Genius, isn't it? Are you still rocking the same oversized look? Or did you finally switch to something more fitted? Whatever it is, I hope you're feeling comfortable and confident in what you wear, even if Mom and Dad secretly roll their eyes. Now, let's talk about sports. Right now, I'm on a mission to find one that suits me. I gave basketball a try, but let's just say height isn't exactly on my side. I spend more time looking up at the hoop than actually shooting into it. So now I'm exploring other options. Maybe something that fits my height and physique a little better. Did you find your perfect sport yet? Are you out there scoring goals, flipping through gymnastic routines, or something completely unexpected? Whatever it is, I hope you're having fun and feeling confident in your choice. And dreams, let's not forget about those. I don't know exactly what I want to be when I grow up. A doctor, an artist, maybe a professional baggy clothes designer? Who knows? All I know is that I have big dreams. I want to do something meaningful, something that makes a difference. Are you chasing those dreams? Did you find new ones along the way? Whatever they are, keep going for them. But future me, no matter what you've accomplished, never forget where you came from. Remember your parents who love you, your teachers who believe in you, and your friends who keep you laughing. Hold on to those memories. They'll always be a part of who you are. And don't sweat the mistakes. Life isn't about being perfect. It's about learning, growing, and trying again. I hope you're still embracing this journey and not taking things too seriously. Finally, future me, I hope you kept the most important thing of all, your sense of fun. Whether it's through the way you dress, the hairstyle you walk, or the way you approach life, I hope you're still expressing yourself boldly and confidently with love and a lot of hope, your younger self. Now, after writing this letter, I realized something. Whether it's about my dreams, my style, or my hairstyle, one thing remains the same. It's okay to just be me. And honestly, if future me is still rocking those baggy clothes, the same quirky hairstyle, and maybe a sport that finally fits, I'll know one thing for sure. I've stayed true to myself. Thank you.
Our sixth grade winner is Julio Mesa Campos.
Dear future me, reminisce for a moment. Do you remember the time you failed a task and when you continued to try and try again? Despite first failing on numerous occasions, you still pushed through and reached success. You earned it after what seemed like countless attempts going in vain. You ambitiously undertook many tasks. Future me, remember to continue doing this. Remember that when experimenting, failing is okay. Your attempts may seem to go nowhere or be ineffective. But if you put in the effort into something, that task will be done. Just like in the words of Thomas Edison, our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is to try just one more time. Future me, remember that if a goal or a task seems to be impossible, give it one more try. How is your relationship with your family? As much as I know, you're reading this a decade after I've written this letter and have graduated college. How are your parents and your sister? I hope you are still in good relations with them. What about your current friendships? You could still be in touch with old friends. You may also be making new friendships. Whether old or new friends, I hope you connect with them well. Friendships make your daily life more enjoyable. People you can relate to and savor life with. Always treasure the relationships you have. But what about the relationship of yourself? You may have many friends, but the most crucial and important relationship you have is with no one else but yourself. What is happening in your current life? If you have a career, what is it? As I write this, I can already visualize the endless possibilities you are encircled with, and I'm curious about your career status. I could conjecture that you may be a lawyer or a politician, but you may be steered into an utterly different direction than how I predict. You may even be in a better inclination. Better, not in the form of statistics where you amass higher wage, but rather one you sincerely enjoy. One in which you can find a work-life balance. Like in the words of Steve Jobs, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. Future me, all I ask is that you find a career you can both live with and enjoy. I have one more question, future me. Has anything happened with your stuttering? Is it still an obstacle? I am sure you remember the feeling of stuttering. You felt as if you were dragged and paralyzed through an endless sea. You felt as if your mind was hijacked. You couldn't breathe or speak for what felt like minutes. People knew you and teased you, especially for your stuttering. You may still stutter, but remember the effort you kept on putting in to improve and improve, each step reaching closer to fluency. Remember that you are still more than whatever your speech difference tries to say you are. Take a moment to think. Remember just how far you've come and how far you will go, trailing the future as you take countless steps in your life. Whenever you read this letter, remember to stay true to yourself. Stay motivated. Keep your dreams close to your heart. Sincerely, Julio.
Our middle school first place winner is Carter Sponsor.
What if I told you that the young man who stands before you prefers competitive swimming over watching football? Or that he can tell you a lot about World War II over solving a math problem? Would your initial perception allow that to be true? How about if I told you that the same young man goes on to become a decorated naval officer and eventually the Secretary of Defense? Would you believe me? If I were you, I would, because that is my reality. Hello, my name is Carter Spotzer. As I write this letter to myself about myself, I do so with high expectations to not only take the journey for me, but to provide a roadmap to possibly help others. When working to achieve a goal, you will have the perception and the reality. It's what you do in between that makes the difference. There are 3 things that are necessary for any person to reach their individual level of success: the right attitude, adaptability, and a relentless commitment. Your attitude is the engine to your driving force. Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." To have the right attitude, you must make the conscious decision that no matter the circumstance, what it looks like, or how it feels, you must move forward. According to research from the University of Scranton, 92% of people give up on their dreams. I'm willing to bet that the remaining 8% use the right attitude to create a positive chain reaction that ultimately led them to their goals. Your attitude is what makes or breaks your ability to be great. It would be naive to believe that the path to success is linear. You must be prepared for obstacles that are sure to come your way. With every crossroad comes the need to adapt. Adaptability is the steering wheel that determines how you get through. Imagine thinking you had it all figured out. Then rejection happens. You go on a little further, and fear sets in. Then comes the doubt. Before long, if you aren't careful, you will find yourself at a standstill. The key to adapting is believing none of what you hear and only half of what you see. It's taking the good with the bad and learning the lesson to yet again move forward. What is the opposite of success? If you said failure, then according to Dennis S. Brown, you're incorrect. The correct answer? Quitting. Without commitment, nobody will reach their goals. That is why your relentless commitment deserves your full acceleration. Your eyes should always look forward towards your goal. That commitment brings out a level of discipline that makes you unstoppable. To my future self, you found purpose. You defied the odds. The things you got wrong, you learned from them. And the things you got right made you stronger. Any statistic or stereotype the world thought it could place on you, you took that perception and created a profound reality because of the journey in the middle. It's the middle that counts. So when it comes to the future, and my future self, I have no fear. I have my engine of attitude, my steering wheel of adaptation, and my accelerator towards commitment. I urge you to set forth on your own journey. Assess where you are and where you want to be. For me, when the topic of the future comes up, I know I will not only survive, but thrive. I control how far I will go. The poem Invictus by William Ernest Henley is the GPS of my life. An excerpt states, "It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." As for my letter, I haven't forgotten. It's simple. Here it goes. Dear Carter, you can, you will, and you did. Sincerely, the person proud to be you.
And next we have our honorable mention for most inspiring story, Giovanna Inez Gutierrez.
As I sit down and write this letter, me, Giovanna Gutierrez, an 8th grader from Villa Charter School, I'm filled with a sense of curiosity and wonder about the person to become. The world around us is constantly changing, and I can only imagine how these shifts have shaped your life. My hope is that this letter serves as a bridge between my present self and you, the person I aspire to be. And while I may not know all the details about your journey, I am sure it's been an extraordinary one. But let's talk about today. At this moment in time, I find myself at crossroads of sorts, bursting with dreams, ambitions, and a fair share of uncertainty. My life is a tapestry knitted with threads of joy and achievements, but also challenges and lessons learned. It's crucial for me to document this point in time so you can look back and remember the person you once were, and see how strong you are. At this moment in time, I'm a success story. Growing up without any parents has been the toughest thing in my life. The empty space that my parents left once made a huge impact on my academic success for many years. All the built-up anger I had affected the way I paid attention in class and even the way I communicated. The absence of my parents has been a burden I've always had to carry with me. I never had the chance to call my mother into my room to ask, "Mom, can you help me with this math problem?" Or, "Mom, can you help me do my hair?" I've grown up to be an independent person. I've taught myself how to do my own laundry, tie my own shoes, and how to be humble. All things a parent should teach me how to do. I did all these things while having my younger sister stay on top of her homework and look presentable before school. Like 17.6 million other children in the US, you grew up with no connection to a father and never experienced a love. Whenever he does come around, you tear up. "Why are you crying, Giovanna?" he'll ask while trying to stay awake. But does he even care? The sight of my father with no home and having to beg for money hurts my soul so badly. I don't ever remember birthday cards, or I don't even remember the feeling of their arms around me. I have one important question. Did they finally give up their addictions? Did you ever ask them after seeing them out in the streets if it was really worth it to throw their family away just for drugs? Growing up this way and this fast has made me realize so many things. It has made me realize how many people care about me and truly love me. My grandma, my tia, my tío, my cousins, and my 2 best friends, Amy and Lori. Without these people, you wouldn't be where you are today. I want you to know how much your grandmother and aunt have sacrificed for you, just to see you succeed and become the greatest version of yourself. Oh, and wait, I want you to know, no matter how lonely you feel, you are never alone. You are strong, even as a 14-year-old. Ultimately, I wonder, have you grown wiser, kinder, and more compassionate? Are you living a life that's aligned with the values you hold dearly? My aspirations for you are limitless. More than anything, I hope you found joy and purpose in whatever path you've chosen. Life is a mosaic of brief, dark moments, but also positive, lasting memories. Cherish them both. Remember to learn from the past, but to not be shackled by it. Let your experiences, good and bad, be your guide, not your chains. I hope you'll always remember that 14-year-old girl. Yes, the one who struggled in school to now have a 3.0 GPA and aspirations to go to college. As I seal this away in an envelope for you to read years from now, I'm embedding within it all my hopes and well wishes for you. This letter is more than just words on a paper. It's a testament to our growth and a reminder of our journey. When time comes for you to read this, I hope it not only finds you successful, but also fulfilled and happy. Until we meet, your past self.
Thank you. We will have some comments from the board in just a moment. Before we move forward, we're going to be awarding you individually, and you'll come up and we'll give you some awards for the great job that you did. And then I also want to introduce Mr. Sammy Couchman from David Alvarez's office, who will join us in giving a certificate. Mr. Couchman?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sammy Couchman, and I'm here on behalf of Assembly Member David Alvarez's office. And I have some certificates here to award to these amazing students who have excelled, and those were some very moving speeches. I would like to give my first certificate on behalf of the Assembly Member to Carter Sponsor.
Up to the circle part. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Take it one more. 1, 2, 3. We have another.
The next certificate that I have will go to Julio Mesa Campos.
Alright, 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
The next certificate will be for Vincent Oka.
Sorry, one more. 1, 2. There you go. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, and 3. We're gonna bring it up again.
The next certificate will be to Allegra White.
One, 2, and 3. One more. 1, 2.
And then last but not least, the last one will go to Giovanna Inez Gutierrez.
One, two, and three. One more, one, two.
On behalf of Assemblymember Alvarez, I just want to congratulate you guys and thank you guys for having me.
You're gonna make another trip.
Okay, so now, the fun part. You get another plaque, certificate, and a check. $200. All right, first one is Allegra White.
Get a goodie bag.
For the family, who's with you? Whoever is here.
Parents, teachers.
Principal.
It's a party.
We got a trophy.
Right, ready, 1, 2, and 3. One more, 1, 2. Perfect.
Okay, next one, Vincent Oka.
Family, parents, principal, teachers.
Everybody gets to hold something.
Hold something.
Everybody hold something. All right, ready, 1, 2, 3. One more, 1, 2, 3. Perfect, congratulations.
Don't lose the check.
That's about it.
That's one.
Oh, I think that one's for me.
Next one is Julio Mesa Campos.
Yeah, there you go, everybody, you're on the side, you're on the side. We're good.
Trophy.
Ready, 1, 2, 3. One more, 1, 2, and 3.
Next one, Mr. Carter Sponsor.
Bring family, call your family to come up, call them up.
There we go. I was hiding. All right, ready, 1, 2, 3. One more, 1, 2, and 3. Perfect.
Yes.
Ready, 1, 2, and 3. One more, 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Board comments.
I cried and laughed and everything in between. You guys are amazing. You're completely inspiring. I definitely see a few politicians and the Secretary of Defense. But honestly, whatever you set your mind to, you guys already are crushing it, and I just hope that you continue crushing it. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
I'm just so proud. I'm proud to say I know you somehow. I thought, first off, I think this serves as a reflection for all of us adults to listen to everything you had to say, because it brings you back to where you were and where you are now. I have a few mentions. Mr. Carter, I think we'll see you at the Pentagon one day. Congratulations, very nice. And to the 2 young ladies, Joanna and Allegra, it's Women's History Month, and to listen to your speeches, you are the perfect example of what a powerful young lady is. Continue to do what you do, and I expect to see a lot of you in the future and a lot of you 5 in the future. Congratulations.
It was just amazing. I couldn't believe you should see how many notes I took. I was trying to fit them all in there. All very good advice to us. And I really appreciate that you bring that innocence, and at the same time, like Ms. Allegra, you were bringing your, what did you say, ponle? Échale ganas. Échale ganas, yes. La guerrerista, my aunts were that too. So it was very nice to hear from each one of you, and in your own way, how you were able to share with us your struggles, your challenges, and what was most important, one of you said, is the opposite of success. How we all thought immediately was the failure. No, it was the quitting. I appreciate that advice, and by golly, that hair, love it, because I wore my hair like Janis Joplin growing up. And I wore these crazy shoes that my parents just kept praying I would outgrow it. I still have some. So thank you all very much. You just did a lot for our spirits. Thank you.
One of the most exciting times as a board member is to be able to hear and listen to these speeches, right? We get to do a lot of routine things, operational things here, but being able to take a moment and listen to how well they prepare a speech. I can never compare to any of your speeches in a million years. So I had an opportunity to talk a little bit before the board meeting to Julio. What an amazing young boy. He was able to sit in your chair. And we had a conversation about his future and what he wanted to do. I think you'll get there. You have every single potential to be what you said you wanted to be here. And all of you, any one of you could sit in this chair, in my chair, any day. Because you have that talent, you have that potential. I'll later talk about heroes. I can tell you you're my hero today. Vincent talked about confidence. And yes, confidence takes a lot of, it's needed. in everything you're doing. You need to be confident in what you're doing. If you wanna rock that hair, more power to you. You need to talk to my son because he has the same hair. And I do look at him, it's like, what's happening to you? Julio talked about friendships and relationships. That's important. It's important to have those friends, those people you can talk to when things get difficult, when things get out of hand. And to build those relationships, that's how you build things. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And having those relationships will matter. Carter, I mean, yes, he will be independent one of these days, but he talked about 3 important things that we have to all, we all should carry those. He talked about attitude and adaptability and commitment. Those are 3 things that are needed in life, and we should remember those 3 as we walk through our day-to-day activities. And Giovanna, resiliency. I think that's your message. You've been through a lot, and you're doing amazing things, and I can see that you will continue to do the great things because you have it in you and you haven't given up, and you have a great support system with your tia, with your grandma, and your rest of your family that you have here. Don't give up. I think that you will be very, very successful. So congratulations to all of you.
What a gift. When I saw the theme of this year's speech contest, I thought, oh, this is gonna be exciting. It takes a lot of introspection that was evident in tonight's speeches, to write a letter to oneself in the future and then to share it with us all. That's very, very brave. And I commend you for the bravery and the courage that you had in sharing that with us because they were very powerful. I heard wisdom. A lot of wisdom from very young people that many of us sometimes forget. And as Trustee Dominguez Cervantes said, you did lift our spirits tonight. The wisdom of Allegra and the generations and a journey taking a generation, right? That's super important. Vincent, I agree with Trustee Tamayo, the confidence that you have. And I have a question, why is it always the boys with the hair? Because when you mentioned it, immediately I thought of my son, one of my sons who was looking through pictures and said to me, Mom, why did you let me do this? So parents, it'll be your fault later. Julio, overcoming obstacles and the confidence you have and acknowledging that, I would have never known that you stuttered. And so for that, I commend you for overcoming that and just the courage you have for coming up and speaking and acknowledging that to all of us, right? Because it's hard, it's very, very hard. Carter, I know you're gonna do great things. I love the way you speak in the present tense to your future self because that is incredible. You speak that out into the universe and it's going to happen. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that you did in your letter. So I look forward to seeing your name, reading about you, knowing the great things that you do. And Giovanna, I agree with Trustee Tamayo. I don't know if you looked over at my notes. The resiliency that you have, your strength of character. This gift that you gave us tonight is a gift that you will have for yourself, and holding on to this letter and looking at it and visiting it from time to time as you go on, because life's journey, right, we take a lot of ups and downs and you're gonna get through it. You're gonna be amazing because resiliency will get you through. So all of you, thank you for sharing your gift with us tonight. And you have a gift now that you will be able to look at in the future and you have it memorialized. So congratulations and thank you. I want to take a pause because this is gonna come down to business now and communication. So families, if you would like to take this moment to slide out while we just take a breath and reflect on this. We appreciate you being here tonight, and we're gonna continue in just a minute with communications to the board. Communication to the Board of Education, Chula Vista Classified Employees Organization, Ms. Angela Reed.
Good evening. I would request the indulgence of the board for a couple extra minutes. I tried to shorten it and just couldn't. If that would be possible, I appreciate it. All right, good evening, board. Thank you for having me tonight. CVCO would like to focus your attention on a critical issue that greatly affects our custodians. Actually, it affects not only the custodial staff, but our students and the school community as well. The essential support our custodians need to properly and effectively maintain and sanitize our facilities. Our custodial staff plays a vital role in ensuring that our schools are always safe, clean, and conducive to learning. However, the demands placed on custodians are unrealistic, and the working conditions are less than ideal. For example, custodians are often tasked with cleaning up food crumbs and large debris from carpets, a process that can take up to 20 minutes, but they are only allocated 4 minutes to complete this task. In another related concern, custodians are required to utilize backpack vacuums that can weigh as much as 35 pounds. Furthermore, they don't allow safe bending to pick up items from the floor, particularly when the vacuums are full. Yet they are criticized by staff when items that are too large for the vacuum to pick up are left behind. Another significant source of frustration for custodial staff stems from a lack of clarity in their duties. Custodians frequently receive conflicting instructions from multiple sources about what needs to be done, when, and how. This lack of direction creates confusion and stress in the working environment that requires a more organized and consistent approach. Despite these challenges, I am impressed by how dedicated our custodians are to their work. Many have personal connections to the schools they serve with children and grandchildren in the district. They express a deep desire to provide the cleanest and safest facilities possible for our students. However, this dedication is tempered by frustration, low morale, and dissatisfaction with their working conditions, often caused by somewhat arbitrary requirements and expectations levied on them. To standardize processes and provide more consistent guidance and support, the district's operations department, in collaboration with CVCEO, addressed this with the creation of 4 supervisory positions to oversee and manage custodial needs at school sites. With this clearly defined chain of command from the operations department, custodians now have much needed consistency, support, and direction, but they are still assigned more duties than the allocated time permits. To address this final challenge, we must utilize a metrics-based approach. This is not a new concept, as there are multiple available industry standards which allow quantification of resources to meet the specific needs of our school sites. One such framework is the APPA cleaning standards, which are widely used in educational and instructional settings. These standards provide a structured approach to cleanliness and area size to determine the human hours required to achieve the specified goals. Each level has specific criteria, allowing custodians to understand exactly what is expected and helps to ensure consistency in cleaning practices. Use of such a standard would free our custodial staff from arbitrary and inconsistent expectations, thereby greatly reducing a major source of unnecessary daily work stress. Although there are no nationwide standards for cleanliness in schools, the U.S. Department of Education has established guidelines for how much a custodian can reasonably clean in an 8-hour shift. For instance, level 2 cleaning, which is the highest standard for most school cleaning, especially in areas like restrooms and food service, allows for 18 to 20,000 square feet in a day. Level 3 cleaning, what would be typical for most school facilities, allows a custodian to clean 28 to 31,000 square feet. These guidelines can help set realistic expectations for custodial workload and ensure that our facilities are maintained properly without overwhelming staff. Yet we staff schools with custodians assigned to routinely clean 40 to 80,000 square feet each night. This requirement puts an unrealistic burden on expectations, causing dissension among staff working in the schools and harassment of custodians when school staff expectations aren't met. Implementing these standards within our district will provide targeted cleaning strategies, clear expectations, and standardization across campuses. By using these standards, the district can identify areas for improvement and create targeted cleaning strategies to meet the cleanliness levels required. Clear standards will allow custodians, administrators, and stakeholders to communicate expectations effectively, while standardization offers a consistent, uniform framework for evaluating cleanliness across schools, ensuring that our custodial staff have well-defined benchmarks to meet. Furthermore, I urge the district to adopt a custodial staffing formula from a nationally recognized source, rather than relying on outdated formulas devised by past administrators. This will help ensure our schools are maintained to the high standards of cleanliness we all expect, while also preventing custodians from being overworked and burned out. To close, we must prioritize the well-being of our custodial staff by implementing standardized, evidence-based practices that ensure our schools remain clean, safe, and healthy for our students and staff. By adopting the APPA cleaning standards and using a nationally recognized custodial staffing formula, we can create a sustainable and supportive environment that meets the needs of everyone involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Chula Vista educators, Ms. Rosie Martinez.
Good evening. The board meeting in which we get to hear the speech contest winners are always my favorite of the year. It is so impressive to hear these young students be so confident, articulate, and impactful. Congratulations to the winners here tonight, but also to everyone who was brave enough to step outside of their comfort zone and take the risk in sharing their ideas. To the winners that I know you will have a bright future ahead of you, keep pushing yourself. And without taking any credit away from the talented young people, I also want to extend gratitude and congratulations to all the adults in their lives that have nurtured, encouraged, and guided them so far. The students are a reflection of the time and effort that families and teachers have invested in helping them thrive. We know that there are incredible talented teachers in this district. The Teacher of the Year Committee went through an interview process last week to select those that will move on to the county to represent Chula Vista. I'm always humbled to see the dedication and talent that is in our classrooms. It is difficult to select only a handful when so many are deserving of the recognition. I look forward to celebrating all the site teachers of the year in April. At the next board meeting, I'm also hopeful to have a ratified tentative agreement for your approval. CBE is very excited that we were able to settle our contract. It is not in front of you today since we are currently going through our ratification process, but are very proud of the hard work and the fruitful outcomes. I want to thank CBE's team led by Tim Chris, but also recognize the district's team led by Jason Romero. It is through collaborative and mutually respectful relationships that have been established through the past years that make our teams work better together. We recognize that there is still much work to do and bargaining is never done, so we will also provide you with our sunshine for our next round of bargaining that will begin in the spring, after spring break. We know that mental health, behavior, and academic interventions are a priority. The caseloads and responsibilities for our psychologists, our counselors, our social workers, our speech pathologists, our RSP teachers and itinerants need to be more manageable. To overload them means that our students are not getting the services that they deserve. CBE is thankful for the collaboration with ISS and Pupil Services to ensure that we work together to improve our current conditions. We want to also thank Mr. Romero and Dr. Reyes for working with CBE and taking the VAPA item off the agenda tonight and acknowledge the value that our VAPA teachers and the amazing work that they do. CBE is eager to collaborate with you through consultation on how we move forward in supporting our amazing VAPA program. We recognize that shifts in district leadership have made this a little difficult this year, but we believe that we are on the right track to moving forward and honoring and supporting these amazing teachers. What we are happy to see back on the agenda is the resolution designating March Women's History Month. Not only are more than 85% of teachers women, but at least half of our students sitting in our classrooms will grow up to be women. We share in the responsibility to be strong role models and to expose them to the powerful women that have shaped the world's history so that we can inspire them to be one of them. You will also vote tonight to designate April as National Arab American Heritage Month. It is so important for all of our students to feel seen, valued, respected, and honored. We must celebrate the diversity of our community and take the opportunity to recognize the value that each one of us brings. Again, that is why I wear my heart pin so proudly. It is a small but important statement that we make to each other that we see, value, respect, and honor each other for who we are regardless of our gender, identity, race, and heritage. As part of our responsibility to do that, I have shared with you some red cards and a Home is Here card with a QR code to resources to support immigrant students and families. I hope that you take a moment and look at them and share them with anyone who may need them. Lastly, I want to express my excitement to finally see an item on the agenda to look at updating playground structures. I ask you to please consider starting at the sites where children don't have a park nearby and have not had access to adequate equipment for a year or more. And I know that Dr. Reyes is tired of me pushing on this, but I will continue until we have restored second chance breakfast. No child should be hungry in our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Administrators Association Chula Vista, Ms. Teresa Corona.
Thank you. Good evening, President Ugarte, trustees, and Superintendent Dr. Reyes. I will keep it short this evening as we were here just 2 weeks ago. I wanted to state that it is AACB's hope that the board can work together this evening to proclaim March as Women's History Month in our district. This is a powerful opportunity to recognize and celebrate the incredible contributions women have made and continue to make, not only in our schools, our community, but in our nation. A significant percentage of our members of AACB are women, and they contribute greatly to the work and accomplishments of this district each and every day. Our district is home to so many extraordinary women, educators, administrators, support staff, leaders, this dais, that shape the lives of the students in our district every day. And hopefully this evening, by proclaiming Women's History Month here in our district, we will honor that dedication and the legacy of countless women throughout history whose courage and vision have paved the way for progress. We believe that when we uplift the voices and stories of women, we inspire our students, all students, to see the value of equity, resilience, and leadership. This proclamation would be a reflection of CVESD's commitment to welcoming and inclusive environments and an education that empowers every child to see themselves as part of a rich tapestry of history and the future. Kind of like our Allegra White shared in her 4th grade speech. Thank you for your time and for your commitment to ensuring our district continues to be a place of equity and excellence. AACB remains dedicated to working together in professional partnership to make CVESD the best it can be. Thank you.
Thank you. Oral communications. The oral communications section provides the public with an opportunity to address the board on non-agenda items. Persons wishing to be heard may attend in person and should complete a request to be heard card and submit it to the recording secretary before the start of the meeting. Speakers are requested to limit their remarks to 3 minutes and speak in a respectful and professional manner. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each topic to 20 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public comments depending on the number of persons wishing to be heard. No board action can be taken. And tonight we have no speakers. Oral presentation and written reports. District Safety Health Update, Mr. Romero.
President Ugarte, Governing Board, and Superintendent Dr. Reyes, and our school community. It's my pleasure today to present our monthly update. So we have a few things to go over today, so I'm going to go a little bit quick because we have a short 3-minute video I want to share with you, but just a quick update on our camera project. Remember, our goal and mission is to have every single school in our district with cameras by the end of the school year, and we're well on our way with completing that. So this month we had cameras installed at Camarena, Wolf Canyon, Finney, Salt Creek, and Veterans. So the only one that's not complete yet is Finney, but we should be done with that really, really soon. The next thing is welcome our newest addition. So we have a couple vehicles that are safety team drives. A lot of times schools are unaware when our safety team is on campus. So this gives a very obvious recognition that our safety leaders are on campus. So Ahmed and Darren, when they're on campus, you may see them parked in the red zone in front of the school sites, just giving that visual perception that safety's here. So we're excited to have those vehicles part of our team. And then Rocket Rules. We came with Rocket Rules a little bit ago to share with you guys. It is a kindergarten through 2nd grade program that is put together through a grant that Ahmed was able to get for us. We did a pilot at Los Altos in a 2nd grade class, and it was a hit. So they used AI, where Rocket is a dog, kind of looks like Clifford the dog, but I'm not trying to say they stole it from that or anything, but it looks a little bit like Clifford and Paw Patrol had a baby, and that's Rocket. So we're going to show a quick little video of the kids basically falling in love with Rocket and his AI. It's really amazing because the kid can ask questions to Rocket, and he answers those kids with those questions. So. Be prepared to be excited.
Hi everyone, my name is Rocket and it's so fantastic to be here with all of you. I wanted you to know that I really care about your safety and I really care about you too. That's why I'm excited to talk to you about dialing 911 and keeping you safe. So, raise your hand if you've ever heard about dialing 911 and when we use it. Now, give me a big thumbs up if you can hear that police siren. Okay. Give me a big thumbs up if you can see the lights flashing. Fantastic, everybody. Now, what about if the house is on fire? Or you see a building? Is this an emergency? Yes. This is a real emergency, and we need to call 911 to the phone. And a friendly operator is going to answer right away. And they're going to send some help. When you call 911, the operator is going to answer. And they're going to ask you some questions. All right, here we go. Ring, ring, ring. 911, what's your emergency?
There's someone breaking in my house.
Oh my gosh, there's somebody breaking in. What is your address? You can use this one too. What about if you're in a car accident? Do you Yes, my friends, this is a real emergency. What about if your house is on fire or we see a building? Yes, my friends. Oh my gosh, look at that. You're really good. And I promise to always use my 6 senses to stay safe. 2, 3.
Rocky me enseñó a los 6 vistas. Uno es poder, el otro es a mirar, y el otro es tocar, el otro es cobrar, y como tu corazón a veces está como adelantando mucho, y para escuchar sonidos, si escuchas como un sonido de una policía, debes que parar de caminar. You have to call 911 for like your house is on fire or someone's breaking in your house.
Are there things that Rocky taught you that are not an emergency?
Yeah, like You know, no toothpaste or no toothpaste brush.
Yeah.
You have to call 911 for
It was such a hit that all the other kindergarten and secondary classrooms are signed up at Los Altos, and we're sharing this with our safety team because we want to make sure that the schools that are interested in there can get this resource to them right away. So it's about 15 or 20 minutes, and really the idea behind that is to teach the kids what's an emergency and what's not an emergency. Great, thank you. Next is LineWise, and I'm going to turn this over to Jacob. There's been some questions. LineWise is a program that we use to keep our students and content blocked, and think of it.
Students do not like LineWise like they want to, unfortunately. But LineWise is our content filter. We are required by law to have it from CIPA, the Children's Internet Protection Act, but also just good practice to have. It is a centralized piece of hardware that lives here in the district. All of our internet goes through it, and it blocks things at a basic level with that. So that's anybody that's a guest on our network, any student, anybody is blocked at a certain level. And then after that, we have an app that's on the students' computers and staff computers. It works here on site and remotely, so if the student takes one of our computers home, it is still monitoring with LineWise. We do have a different set of rules for students and staff about what they're able to see and not see. We can also limit certain things based on sites. If a particular site has a student that is not using YouTube wisely and needs to be limited in that, we can do that for them. So we do that through the app. Right now, the internet is it's a very secure place, which makes it hard for this to break in and stop things from getting to the students. So with the app, we're able to kind of intercept the encryption on Google and things like that, and better stop searches and filter searches that students are going through so that Google doesn't encrypt it and get past the LineWise filter. We also are able to work in conjunction with YouTube to lock things to YouTube Child Safe and Google Child Safe so that students are only using those. Primarily, LineWise works off of URLs like the website address and categories that LineWise, the company, kind of sets up. So they say, this is a gaming website, this is an adult website, this is a gambling website, and we block the categories that we don't want the students to have access to. And then we block individually other links if we need to, or allow them. Like we block gaming for everyone, but some of the schools have gaming clubs, so we unblock it for the gaming clubs as they watch some of that content. And the new part of LineWise that we're using is the content aware, that's the last part. It uses AI to look at pictures that come through and block the ones that it determines as inappropriate for violence or nudity or any of those sorts of things. Truthfully, the entire LineWise suite is moving that direction. Eventually, they don't want to be based on, we know this URL is bad. They want the AI to say, whatever's on the screen, I'm addressing it at any given time. It's not just based on what we know ahead of time. So it's less reactive, more proactive. But right now, that's just these pictures, and the video will be coming this summer. And we saw that as a demo, and it was working, but it is not available to us yet. And they do not have a timeline for sound on video yet, as I know you're gonna ask that question. But that is LineWise.
Great. Thank you. Questions?
Board questions, comments?
I have a quick question. So the school safety vehicle, first off, this is awesome. The rocket and the safety vehicles, LineWise is awesome. So, but the school safety vehicles, are they gonna be going to they're gonna be roving every school?
Yes. Correct, so our safety team, they actually go to all the different schools at different times. Whenever there's something that needs to be taken care of, obviously, it's their priority. But they do have their routine of what schools to go and when and where.
I have a question about the rocket program. They mentioned they piloted at Los Altos. Are more schools gonna have the opportunity to experience it?
Mr. Romero?
Yes, right now, all of our schools, this was kind of a mid-year launch, and a lot of what happens is our schools already have programs planned for the remainder of the year. So we are sharing this with our principals and letting them know it's available, and schools are able to sign up based on time and availability, but it is open to every school in our district.
Thank you.
Any other?
Dr. Rick.
Your questions?
I thought you said ask questions, I'm not.
Yeah, well, you ask and then we.
Okay, so I have several questions about Limewise. So in regards to, so what is it actually doing? It's centralized, it's got app side, so it's gonna be like our phones? I mean,
You do have Limewise on your phone.
right, so on my personal phone, you have it on here too?
We could, but no, it's only on your district devices.
Cause I have it at under 14 years age. So that's my point. So what is it actually doing? Because you just told us what's not available yet. So what is it actually doing is so for content that's already considered X rated, then it's not going to allow that search, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so is it similar to what our phones are doing, like we can set up for our own children or grandchildren, that it allows that, because you also said that it's not doing the blocking the sounds and some of the visuals, so I believe I wasn't clear.
So right now it just blocks, well, it'll do the picture thing with the content aware, but it mainly blocks things based on the URL or something it knows is bad, like the address. So for YouTube, for Google search, it works in conjunction with those to lock it to a safe version, so students and staff can't search for things that are not kosher for the district. But things pop up that have not been classified properly, et cetera, and we rely on teachers to let us know that has happened, or Limewise to catch it and report it to them. But for the most part, they catch the very well-known problem sites.
So Limewise that we have now is doing that, but we're hoping to get to that other point, that test that you showed.
Right, it reactively blocks content that we already know about. But with the AI moving forward, hopefully we'll start being able to block anything. So if someone does find a way around our filters, it'll still know just by what's on the screen that needs to be blocked out.
Right. So then, for the incident or incidents that have occurred on some of our students they're so smart, they're able to navigate around things. What we have now, would it have prevented them from getting that?
Video, no. Pictures, it most likely would have stopped pictures from being viewed by students.
Okay.
But video at the moment is not being caught like that. So if they find a way to share that or view that, I'm saying it's not streaming. But yes, they can get around it sometimes.
But with AI coming, we have higher hopes that we can prevent this.
Sure.
Thank you very much for researching that, I appreciate it.
I do have a question. On the presentation, they mentioned about cameras being installed. Are they installed and operational or just installed?
Mr. Lerner, can you provide the status of the installation of the cameras? So, because I know that there's different steps. So first is the where we're gonna install them, then the installation, then actually turn them on and make sure that we can monitor.
Yes, so the ones that are fully installed are operational, and we're working on getting all the schools done by June 30th. But yes, as they're installed, they're turned on and working.
So the ones that are operational, has there been training to the sites on how they're going to use them? Are they going to use them? And who has access to those cameras?
Yes, so access is available to our site administrators. We haven't gone through the full training on it because there's a software program that we're using with something called Verkada, and basically the access right now is available. We use it as a not as a live feed, but to investigate things that have happened. So currently we're making sure that we're scheduling training with our staff. But right now, it's just available at the district office. So if there's a break-in, if there's a robbery, if there's something that happens, we can have access to those.
And is the video feeds are the video feeds going to be actively monitored, or are we going to just respond as needed?
So my understanding is that they're gonna be used, they're not gonna be actively monitored. It's gonna be for, like Mr. Romero said, for investigations, for finding out the time, the sequence of events, the person, the particular events.
So Matt is not going to be in this secret room with a lot of monitors looking at everybody.
No. Mr. Romero.
Yeah, just one thing, and so there are options that we're looking at right now where the cameras can be used to detect, like if a person falls down and they're not responding, right? So there are some safety things that we're looking at exploring, but active monitoring.
Thank you.
I had a question with regard to Rocket and the interaction. Who is the curriculum that goes with that comes from the actual Rocket AI, the company? Is that my understanding? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
And so each grade level, as we talked about, you showed that it was second grade and that K through 2 has signed up. I really do like what is a 911 call and what is not a 911 call. And I just, when you said speaking of falling down and not reacting, I think maybe for our younger students, that might be something we want to incorporate, that's an emergency too, because we hear about kids who do have to end up calling 911 because someone has been hurt at home. So that was just my comment. I just wanted to make sure that that interaction, right? I loved it. I loved that it was talking to them. I actually love that voice too. So that's something that can be incorporated in there.
What I'll do is I'll actually send the board in a Friday update a copy of the book that comes along with the program, because it does cover that actually. It does cover, when to call 911. So we just showed a snippet of 3 minutes of a 15 to 20 minute program, but it's really cute. Kids really loved it, and we're excited to have more and more classrooms use it.
Thank you. All right, report on Sweetwater Authority water quality update, Dr. Reyes.
So the February board meeting, trustees and Cervantes raised concerns about the water quality from Sweetwater Authority in our community. I had an opportunity to meet with the general manager, Mr. Quintero, and tonight we have Sweetwater Authority present to give us a presentation on the water.
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity to present this evening. We'll be speaking on land health regulations, Sweetwater Consumer Confidence Report, and the PFAS. Before we get started, I just want to congratulate this district for the amount of talent that you guys have. That was amazing, those speeches, and thank you for allowing us this time. Again, my name is Roberto Llano. I'm the Assistant General Manager with Sweetwater Authority. And tonight, we'll touch on the other Lennon Hopper and consumer confidence, but we're talking about PFAS because it's such a complex and challenging issue. We want to make sure that we're able to provide some information. This issue is one that water providers worldwide are working towards addressing because of it's so widespread. The presence is everywhere: air, water, clothes, food wrappings, pants, carpets, everywhere. And regulation is also still being still evolving. Unfortunately, our general manager Carlos Quintero was not able to join us tonight because he's actually in Sacramento. Meeting with regulators or legislators on PFAS funding, and also to develop or set up a path for long-term solutions. So you get me. The good news is that we also get Justin Brazil, who is our director of water quality, will guide us through these issues. So we have a small agenda. We'll talk about Sweetwater Authority's testing. Like I said, consumer confidence report. What is PFAS? What are we doing about PFAS water safety? Go through PFAS education and outreach, and towards the end, hopefully there's time for some questions and answers. So before I hand it off to Justin very quickly, Sweetwater Authority, we are your water provider. We serve about 200,000 people in 36 square mile area. That includes National City, Bonita, and west and central portions of Chula Vista. We manage, own 2 dams, 2 reservoirs, 20 storage tanks, 17 pump stations, about 150 miles of linear miles of pipe. Have a surface water treatment plant, desalination facility, freshwater wells. We are a JPA between National City and South Bay Water. Our board is composed of 5 members from South Bay Water and 2 appointed members from National City. The mayor actually appointed. So with that, I want to hand it over to Justin, who will take us through.
Good evening, and thank you for having us here. Justin Brazil, Sweetwater Authority's Director of Water Quality. So how does Sweetwater Authority ensure that the water is delivered to our customers is safe? So public drinking water systems are required to perform a lot of tests of the water. There's a lot of regulations that inform what safe drinking water is, both at the state and the federal level. And so Sweetwater Authority actually performs somewhere in the area of around 15,000 tests on the water per year. We have a state certified laboratory in-house at our water treatment plant in Spring Valley, and 4 qualified staff members of backgrounds in biology and chemistry that analyze our water on a daily basis. Additionally, for the treatment plants that we operate, we have certified water treatment plant operators that are certified by the state of California, and the treatment facilities are monitored and operated 24/7. There's never somebody that takes eyes off the operation of the treatment plants, and so that's a very important aspect of what we do. And we just threw in the slide just a little fact on bottled water, just because we're going to be talking about PFAS, and we imagine that that might be looked at as maybe an alternate to the public drinking water for PFAS. But there's also reports out there that bottled water may not necessarily be the solution. One article by U.S. News found that PFAS was detected in 63% of bottled water, so it's not necessarily the silver bullet for PFAS. So public water agencies have to be very transparent in what they do. And so a requirement for public water agencies is that every year by July 1st, we have to issue what's called a consumer confidence report for what we detected in our water for the previous calendar year. And so the most recent consumer confidence report that's available for our customers right now and is accessible on our website is the calendar year 2023 consumer confidence report. Now, we just finished calendar year 2024, so we're in the process of working on 2024's consumer confidence report now, and it will be available for our customers by July. But it does provide all the detections of what we found in the water that we're required to monitor and report for that period of time. Kind of think of the consumer confidence report really as maybe a report card for what your water agency is doing. It's measuring our quality of water against the state and the federal regulatory standards. So lead and copper testing, this is also something that's been in the news a lot really since Flint, Michigan happened several years ago. And so I just wanted to point out, what does Sweetwater do regarding lead and copper? So there are state and federal guidelines that we have to follow for lead and copper. Lead and copper typically don't come from the water source itself. Lead and copper typically come from plumbing in homes, the solder that holds copper pipe together, and fixtures in homes. And so what it really comes down to is it's important in how we operate our treatment plants, and such that we produce a water that's not corrosive, that doesn't leach those metals out of the fixtures and plumbing that's in homes, offices, and businesses. And it's not on the slide, but something that the authority did last year that was a regulatory requirement by the Environmental Protection Agency that's really important to note is we actually went through an exercise where we had to inventory and identify all the materials in our system that connect the water mains to our homes and our houses, and determine whether materials used are lead or not. Because that's really what started this, was the issue of Flint, Michigan, because Flint, Michigan had lead that connects water mains to homes. And so the good news is Sweetwater Authority determined that we do not have any lead in our system. So that's good, and also very protective of public health that we do not use lead to connect our water mains. Also, just to point out, under previous California regulation back in 2017, we actually did test all the schools in our service area for lead and copper, including the Chula Vista Elementary School District, and we were in full compliance with the regulatory standard at that time. And last October, the Environmental Protection Agency issued a new rule called Lead and Copper Rule Improvements, where water agencies will again be required to test for lead and copper in schools starting in 2027. We'll have to test at least 20% of schools per year over a 5-year period and be complete by the start of 2032. And so Sweetwater Authority has multiple water sources. Our main water source is surface water, which really starts up in the Cuyamaca Mountains, and the first impoundment is Loveland Reservoir up in the Alpine area you may be familiar with, and then water from Loveland Reservoir flows down to the Sweetwater Reservoir, which is gonna kind of be the highlight of the PFAS conversation tonight. And then at the Sweetwater Reservoir, we have a water treatment plant where we treat water there and then deliver it to our customers. And then in addition to that, Sweetwater Authority also has groundwater sources. We have fresh groundwater wells in northern National City, and we also have a desalination facility in Chula Vista. So that's a really good resource for Sweetwater Authority and our community. It's a reliable, cost-effective water source, and not a lot of agencies in our county have groundwater like we do, so this is great. And then in addition to our own sources, we also do have connections to the San Diego County Water Authority, where we can purchase raw surface water to treat, or treated water it's already been treated, that we can deliver to our customers. So PFAS, what is it? I'll just say the acronym up front, but it's a long, we call it PFAS because it's a very long name, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. And to start this off, we're first gonna have a short video to share. If I can figure out how to do the play. Sorry about that, I might need technical support on this because I lost my presentation.
So I didn't see a video in there.
Okay, well, the video's not functioning, we'll just skip over that for now, that's fine.
Do you know what slide it was on?
You gotta go up a little bit, quite a bit more. So many more people. Keep going up, 10.
Yes. I think we have no video for today.
Okay, no problem. My apologies. Okay, so again, PFAS, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. So this is a large category of fluorinated compounds that have been manufactured in the United States and around the world since the 1940s. And they've been used, there's thousands of different chemicals, PFAS, and they've been used in a wide variety of consumer products because PFAS chemicals are very indestructible. And indestructible to the point that you often might hear in the news, they call them forever chemicals because they don't break down naturally in the environment. But they're doing exactly what they were designed to do, is be indestructible, and that's why they were used in things like firefighting foam, non-stick cookware, stain-resistant carpet. They still be used in fast food packaging because they're also resistant to grease and oils. And the problem with that is they've also been determined to have links to health or health risks associated with them. And because they don't break down, and just give you an example, is for decades we've been adding these waste to landfills that contains PFAS, and then PFAS can then infiltrate or leach out the landfill into the groundwater supply, or it can run off into rivers, streams, and lakes and get into the environment, and that's how one path is to how it gets into drinking water. But drinking water is just one source of PFAS. It's been found in air, soil, and water, and again, a variety of consumer products. And so why are you hearing about PFAS in the water treated from the Sweetwater Reservoir tonight? Well, because Sweetwater Authority recently started testing for PFAS. And so the state of California and the Environmental Protection Agency, who regulate drinking water, have taken a lot of significant steps towards PFAS. And so over the past several years, the state of California, the Division of Drinking Water, has issued a variety of monitoring orders throughout the state, predominantly to test groundwater sources for PFAS. And I can attest that the groundwater sources the Sweetwater Authority has consistently tested not detected for PFAS chemicals. Last April, the Environmental Protection Agency released what's called a new National Primary Drinking Water Standard for PFAS, which requires monitoring for PFAS between 2024 and 2027. We have all water utilities have to perform 1 year of what's called initial monitoring. And there's 6 what are called maximum contaminant levels that they've set for PFAS. and the lowest level being set at 4 parts per trillion, which is a very small amount, and just to kind of put that in perspective, it's equivalent to 1 drop of water in 5 Olympic-sized swimming pools. So the initial monitoring needs to occur between 2024 and 2027, 1 year of quarterly monitoring, but the actual regulation isn't enforceable until 2029, and the EPA did that because they understand this is a very large national problem, and it is gonna take time for water agencies to understand where they stand with PFAS and then develop solutions in order to be in compliance by 2029. And so the graph here is simply just to kind of show where we were and where we're going with PFAS. And so the yellow lines there show that back in 2009, I just mentioned the 4 part per trillion level, but back in 2009, the EPA had what's called health advisory levels, which are just non-enforceable health-based standards for 2 PFAS called PFOA and PFOS. Those were set pretty high compared to now. For example, PFOA at 400 parts per trillion. But if we zoom all the way to 2029, which is when the new limits will be enforceable, we're now looking at 4 parts per trillion, so 100 times lower than where we were looking back in 2009. And one of the reasons we were able to do that, so the blue line on this chart, is because the analytical technology or the detection methods that we have to look for PFAS have improved. And so back in 2012, for example, just again looking at PFOS, the reporting level for PFOS was 40 parts per trillion. What does that mean? It means back then, if you had something in your water that was less than 40, it was called not detected, because we didn't have confidence in testing below that at the time. But then over the years, we ultimately were able to drop those reporting levels down to 4 parts per trillion, which has then allowed us to monitor and regulate lower levels for PFAS moving forward. So in California, even before the EPA released this new standard last April, we already had some existing regulatory framework in place here in the form of notification and response levels. And I'm going to talk about these in reverse as how they are on the slide. And in the following slide, I'll talk about why that's relevant for the discussion tonight. But a notification level, if that's exceeded in California, requires just that notification in the form of notification the governing body of the water agency and the governing body of any jurisdictions that you serve. And then response levels, which are set higher than the notification level, also require that same type of notification. However, the utility has to contemplate additionally whether to utilize treatment or blending to mitigate those levels or take the source offline. And so Sweetwater Authority, we did our first round of monitoring back in October. And what we found was for one of the chemicals, PFOA or PFAS PFOA, we were above the California notification level and at 9.4 parts per trillion. And so Sweetwater Authority did perform notification as required, as I just mentioned back in the end of calendar year 2024. And then we monitored again in Q2 in January, and then we found that the PFOA level increased a little bit, and it was at 11.4 parts per trillion, now exceeding the California response level. And then we took a confirmation sample just after that, and then it dropped back down a little bit just below the response level. And so for this particular PFAS, compliance is based on a running annual average. So that's why the authority hasn't made notification yet for the response level, because we still have to collect more quarters of data to have more information in order to determine when we're in compliance with that response level. And then the other one that was detected was TFHXS. And this one, for both quarters we monitored for, we have been in excess of the notification level. And again, we did perform public notification for TFHXS back in calendar year 2024 as well as required. So where are we right now? So we're still in the initial monitoring phase under the new National Primary Drinking Water Standard. So Sweetwater Authority has conducted 2 quarters of monitoring. We've been conducting a 3rd and a 4th quarter of monitoring this calendar year in April and July. Is the water quality different than other areas? Is our water quality different than other areas of Chula Vista? So what I want to point out here, we talked about Sweetwater's water sources, and this is getting into a little bit more detail here. So Chula Vista is actually served by 2 water agencies, Sweetwater Authority and the Otay Water District. And so First, we'll talk about Sweetwater Authority. So what I want to convey on the map here, the shaded area that's bounded here is Sweetwater Authority's service area. And the contours on this map, what they show is where water is mostly at, or the proportion, I should say, of water coming from Sweetwater Reservoir or the Purdue Water Treatment Plant. So the darker blue areas on that map towards the east indicate that water served in that more eastern portion of our service area is predominantly from Sweetwater Reservoir. And then if we move into western and central Chula Vista, it's a little less shaded because now it's blending with groundwater sources from our desalination facility. And then, of course, in National City, that pink shaded area, that's groundwater from our National City wells. And then I just wanted to point out, so for the eastern side of Chula Vista, that is the Otay Water District that serves the other half. And that's a completely separate water district that uses separate water sources, and the two are not physically connected together. The water is moving back and forth. What is Sweetwater Authority doing to protect public health and safety of administrators, teachers, and students? But really what I want to show here, this is a timeline of April 2024, starting when the new standard was released, all the way fast forwarding to April 2029. But what are we doing? We're monitoring. We're getting on it quickly, trying to understand where we're at so we can start coming up with solutions in order to be in compliance and meet these new standards by 2029. And so although we're not required as a water system to have our initial monitoring done until 2027, we started in 2024, and we'll have it complete by 2025. So we're moving quickly because we need to start coming up with solutions to this problem, which by the way will be very costly for the authority. So we're continuing to look at long-term solutions. Likely at the water treatment plant, for example, we may have to install potentially $40 million worth of treatment, granular activated carbon, ion exchange in order to remove PFAS from the water. As our Assistant General Manager Roberto Ayala mentioned, our General Manager was up in Sacramento today working with legislators and trying to secure funding to help offset these costs for our ratepayers and provide us the ability to install this expensive treatment. Additionally, Sweetwater is continuing litigation against PFAS manufacturers, those that produce these chemicals for decades. And in fact, we've already settled with four manufacturers, and those are 3M, DuPont, Tyco, and BASF. Is the water safe to drink? So Sweetwater follows all state and federal guidelines that are required for drinking water. And at this time, the water meets all current enforceable PFAS standards. The future of PFAS may change, although the Prime National Primary Drinking Water Standards are already been set. There is some possibility regulatory standards could change with different administrations. But we're talking about this now, we're engaging the community, and we have been engaging the community because getting to the solution is going to be, require public engagement, and it's also going to be expensive and costly, and so we want to get that message and that information out there. What can you do? So we understand the public is concerned about PFAS being detected in the drinking water. It's widespread in our environment, and water is one exposure route for PFAS. So the Environmental Protection Agency does have information on its website for the utilization of certain types of water filters that meet specific NSF and ANSI standards, 53 or 58, that can filter PFAS like at a point of use at your home. On this slide here, we don't have links to the EPA's website and that information. However, when I get to the end of the presentation, I will share where we have more information on Sweetwater's website, and we do have links that the public can go there and find more information and links to the EPA's website to get that additional information. Should we buy bottled water? So one thing to understand is bottled water is regulated differently than public drinking water. Bottled water is regulated by the Food and Drug Administration, whereas we're regulated by the Environmental Protection Agency. And so we're regulated much more strictly than bottled water. There's now a standard for PFAS that'll be enforceable by 2029 for PFAS for public water systems, but there's not a standard yet for bottled water. So I guess the thing is that bottled water was going to be a solution, if that's something that somebody chose to do. I would just do the due diligence and reach out to the bottled water manufacturer, ask if they're performing the testing, ask if you can see the data to make sure. What are we doing to educate customers about PFAS? So again, we're here tonight, we're committed to engaging our community and stakeholders throughout the process. And so far, to date, Sweetwater has hosted 7 workshops throughout our service area in Chula Vista, National City, and Bonita. And we're also performing direct mailers to all of our customers additionally, so that we make sure we reach everybody and everybody gets this information. On our website with sweetwater.org/PFAS, we have a lot of information there. We have videos of our public workshops. We have frequently asked questions. We have links to the EPA and a lot of information available. We have a PFAS hotline. We have an email list that you can sign up, so when there's updates, you can get notifications. And we also have an email where you can send us a question and we'll respond with an answer. And I apologize, that was a lot of information, but I wanted to leave some time for Q&A.
We have one speaker on this item, Karen.
Board members, my name is Karen. I am a professional engineer who lives within your district. My kids went to one of your schools. First, forever chemicals, or PFAS, in our water is something we all should care about. It's a wicked problem on the same scale as climate change, but we hear little or nothing about it. The new federal PFAS regulation is based on decades of scientific research. Nonetheless, it is being challenged in court. Manufacturers are being sued. Ongoing litigation hinders open and honest dialogue. Second, Sweetwater Authority is following the drinking water rules. Sadly, today, those rules allow elevated levels of this PFOA. It's a legacy chemical phased out in the 1990s to be delivered to our taps. Mind you, PFOA's bad factor, same as lead. The chemical, even in minute amounts, is very disruptive to the human body. It affects a wide range of organs, including kidneys, liver, and thyroid. In good conscience, I could not let a child drink that tap water. I now have a point of use filter. I'm not a public health official or epidemiologist to state what is safe or not based upon data, but I do understand numbers and math. Top experts set the health goal at 0. The enforceable standard in 4 years will be 4. Sweetwater reservoir numbers are more than twice that. The agency has another water source available to them, yet they are on a slow path due to the money involved, and the regulations allow them this time. Purchasing wholesale water would be expensive. This contaminated water is free. So do your due diligence, figure out what needs to be done to meet your mission. Thank you.
Thank you. Board questions and comments on the presentation?
We heard that the timeline for even investigating is still far off. So how much of the time, because I know it's 2029 in order to basically do something. But as we heard, these chemicals are harmful to the bodies of our children and our family members. So basically my question is, I know that you have 2 semesters, you said, or 2 quarters that you're measuring. Are you considering making a change by the end of the measuring cycle, or are we waiting until 2029?
are consistently considering and talking with our board as to when and what. So yeah, everything's being considered, it's just because it's still, we don't have that data, and because regulations and, you know, the actual doctors and chemists are still figuring out where to put the right line, we're not, there's no decision that has been made, but everything's being considered at this time.
You mentioned at least twice that it would be very costly to change. I feel like safety should be a priority, and that maybe the settlement money from those litigations could be used towards that instead of, in a way, just sharing, well, it's gonna cost you more. I know that also you mentioned there's litigation and legislature where we're obviously not 100% sure, but we believe that our politicians are also concerned about our safety. So I don't know if maybe the wording will be changed from, oh, it's gonna cost, to we wanna make sure we're keeping you safe.
I just wanna know if you would drink the water.
I do.
I wouldn't. No disrespect to you gentlemen, and I know you mentioned that you guys came out here to talk, but you only came out here because I've been asking, demanding, requesting since about a year ago. And Dr. Reyes reached out to some of the individuals at Sweetwater, but you guys are here now, so thank you for coming, we appreciate it. I know it's a sticky kind of situation, you're sitting there because I'm questioning the value of these tests. So you're saying that the quarterly monitoring, there was one in, January, another one in March, and they both came back as failing, correct?
One above a notification and one above a responsible print.
Failing. So then another one's coming up, but see, here's the problem. I have a cup of water here, and it's okay, so it's diluted and only have a little bit of poison in it. But if I drink a lot of those cups, now my poison intake increases. And I feel that, like my colleague here, Trustee Kieran, I think you have a responsibility, not just to the whole community you serve, because they pay for their water, their bad water, but also the schools, the students, the teachers. Maybe some of that money you're getting back from litigation, you can install those, reverse osmosis purifications at our schools. That would help while you wait for these other results. The fact that law allows you to continue doesn't make it right. It allows you, and that's why you're doing it, because you're working hard to try and make this right. I understand that there's a lot of moving pieces to it, but it's still not right. So what can we do? What solutions how can we partner? We'll provide you the water, we'll provide you the equipment that's out there, the students, the drinkers. Help us, the kids and the parents. I was at a Read Across America these last few days, and I was at one of the elementary schools on the west side. You know how horrible I felt to watch this little girl run up, because it was recess. So of course the kids are running over to go drink some water. I stood there and I felt so guilty that I watched her drink that water. It's just not right. It might be allowed, but it's still not right. So what can you do to help clean up that water? It shouldn't happen to the whole community that you serve, but I'm here speaking for the children and the families and the staff that are drinking that water. Now, I know Dr. Reyes mentioned something that we're doing here internally, but it's not enough. What we're gonna do is gonna be like a little filter thing for each school. That's not enough. What can you do now while you wait for all these results? In the meantime, what can you do in the meantime while you resolve it for everyone else? That's a big population. Dr. Reyes could probably be more specific as to how many staff we have out there and the number of students, let alone the volunteers, the parents that come through. They get thirsty, summer's coming, it's right around the corner, they're gonna drink more water. But they're bringing their water from home too, and they live there, so that doesn't make it much better. And we encourage drinking water as a, how to stay healthy, but then we're just encouraging them to drink more of this bad PFAS, these forever chemicals. And I understand there's some kind of landfills that you guys are looking into or something, or maybe the cause of some of this, you don't know where it's coming from, or I would imagine you would have put a stop to it. You would put some kind of blockade there, so it wouldn't come to your water source, right? And then the other piece is, well, why can't you just get the water where the Otay Water District gets it? But they don't have that issue.
Sure, so, we definitely appreciate the comments, and that's why we've been out in the community, because we appreciate hearing the comments, the asks and the feedback, and, these are really things that we can take back to our agency and, contemplate and help us make decisions moving forward, so we appreciate that.
Right, because I have to be real clear, that what I'm saying is that I'm making you responsible for the health of our community.
Any questions?
Thank you for sharing some of the challenges that we're facing or looking into the future with water and PFAS. It is going to be a costly solution, and unfortunately that solution, unless we get some federal money or state money, it's going to be the taxpayers that are going to pay for it through higher rates for water. So let's continue that conversation with your board and your leadership over there to see how we can start mitigating some of that problem at schools, right? If it's installing filters or stations like Dr. Reyes has suggested at each school, or more commercial grade filtering at the entrance of the school water supply. Whatever that solution is, let's get creative and let's see how we can start mitigating some of that potential danger for our kids. While the rating might not be there, we know it's bad, and it's only a matter of time that we have to do this. So if we can be proactive, as you've been being proactive, but now testing the water, let's do that also in partnership.
I want to thank you for your presentation and the data that you provided. I think my questions have been answered in the previous questions asked here tonight. And I want to reiterate what Vice President Tamayo said, working with your governing board to make sure that we're doing this in an expedient way, right? I know that you have to answer to your board just like the superintendent has to answer to our direction. And I appreciate the dialogue and that you came out here to present this information to us, to give us the information. And I especially appreciate how to get involved. My only question is, are these meetings that you're holding, the informational, how are they advertised? How would our families know where they're being held and where they could go?
Sure, we've done, where we put out mailers in the newsletter, we've posted on social media outlets, we've reached out to city managers and cities to get the information out there. So and we're also working with a consulting firm as well, a public affairs consulting firm that's really been helping us get the word out there in addition. So. Thank you. And thank you again for presenting. Thank you again for your time tonight. Okay, 8:15, we will return to our consent agenda. The consent calendar. The following items listed in the consent calendar are considered by the board in one action. There will be no discussion on these items prior to the time the board votes on the motion. Unless members of the board, staff, or public request specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent calendar. Board, are we pulling any items?
Yes.
Yeah. Item C. Item,
Which item, C, did you?
C. Item B. Item G, H, K, M, Q.
Okay, Q.
Which item from item C?
The counselor's job description?
Board, any other items?
I don't have any.
I do have item 11C, subsection 11CD, and 11CK. And then also 11D, 11F, 11G, 11J, and 11K.
Trustee Tamayo?
What's left? Wait,
6 items.
I'll do both, how's that? Let me know.
Oh, can I pull one? I just realized I forgot one.
Sure.
In item 11C, also K.
I will accept a motion for the consent calendar, to approve items B, E, I, L, N, and P.
So moved?
Second?
Moved by Vice President Tamayo, seconded by Clerk Dominguez Cervantes. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item 11C, counselor job description, Trustee Ramirez Dominguez.
Oh, I have a question on the change on the job description. Does this mean we are hiring all new counselors?
Dr. Reyes?
No, it means that we're changing or editing the job description of our counselors. So it's not a new job description, it's a current job description that we have, and we're making an edit of, it's about 4 words, 5 words that are in bold.
Follow-up question. I see that we have a high emphasis on social work. Will any applicant that has more of the counselor side be equally considered, or are we leaning more to social work?
It depends on the need of the site.
Trustee Dominguez Cervantes, I think you had the same item.
Yes. I was provided that job description to me by a social worker that works for our school district. And I just would like to share some of the items that they felt they had concerns with in the new description. So I'm only going to call out a couple in hopes that maybe this goes back and gets further reconsideration or see what you think. So under job summary, one of the issues was that working with the direction of the lead mental health specialist. The claim is that person, would they even have admin credentials? It's almost an oxymoron, working with the direction of the lead. So that's an issue. The 4th dot point, it is claimed that they do not have a data management system, but they have been asking for one, so how could they use something they do not have? And then last dot point of the first page, they called out as a huge concern, and this is a quote that's here, this will take them time, which they're already going to be cut per week. There are several more concerns on this document that I can hand over, but I think this merits the fact that our social workers didn't feel that they had input on this, and I don't know if maybe the social worker just wasn't aware of a meeting somewhere that was had so that social workers could provide input, or what, but I have, made a copy of the input they provided.
Dr. Reyes?
So we're not modifying, everything that you mentioned, we're not modifying any of that.
Okay, but it's before us, so now we get to take a look at it again.
So, well, just for clarification purposes, what we're looking at right now, the item right now is the 7 words in bold, which is in collaboration with site administrator and with the. So those added words is the action item for tonight. The rest is not the consideration for this agenda item.
Well, Dr. Reyes, I beg to differ.
Actually, a point of order, this is the item, you can submit that to the superintendent and he can give it to HR, but tonight, the only item are those 7 words, and this is the job description as it has been posted. I wonder if there's a date on here, since 2021. And it was originated on 9th and September of 2016.
And it was revised last board meeting.
So that can be given and it can be revised at a future date, but all we're voting on right now is those items.
Yeah, so what we see right here is the current, as it stands, what we're changing or editing are those words. So basically what happened was, it said under the supervision of the Senior Director of Student Services, and they felt that, yeah, that's great. However, it should also be with the collaboration of the site administrator, meaning that the principal, or some principal, but the principal should have a say in regards to the supervisor.
And I understood that when we had our agenda review on Friday, but this came in our email, and so I have to raise the issues.
So for the rest of the board, I'll offer this. Job descriptions typically are negotiated between the district and the union. And if a member of that job classification has an issue, it goes through the union, and the union has to bargain for them. We do not bargain for individual members. Yes, they can express concerns to us about job descriptions, but in reality, the duty for advocating for workers belongs to our union partners. So
I understand what you're saying.
I would ask that we do not try to bargain here for something that our labor unions do. If we have concerns about the job descriptions, it is in our purview to let it down or table it, which I would suggest, if that's the will of the board, to table it for further discussion, have time for the labor partners to work it out. But in, like President Ugarte said, the consideration here is those words that are bolded. But I did want to remind the board that we did not bargain for our labor partners.
And I just want to add on to what Trustee Dominguez said about this. The unions can file an unfair labor practice against the district if we bargain outside of bargaining. So that's the reason for let's not do this. Because we're in public.
I like to do things that the public sees what I'm doing, so.
Are there any other questions with regard to the social worker job description? I believe also, item 11CK, I don't know if Trustee Ramirez Dominguez pulled that as well. Okay, and then we'll have Trustee Dominguez on this. So 11CK, what page?
I have multiple pages, page 4.
Okay,
And it just starts at consultants at Ajax. Do I keep going or?
Well, just tell that item, tell us about that item.
Thank you. So I see that we have $164,000 starting today. Yeah. To be dispersed through June 27th. Is this money, Well, my point is, are we really making the best use of this program? Have we, and I know we talked about multiple, meetings of how we talked about how we're training the noon duties and the subs and all these people, so if we're spending a large amount, I just wanna make sure that we continue, the follow-up with, have we finished training everybody that can use this?
Yeah, so the amount was $164,500. That is for 2 years, and the reason why we did it for 2 years is because we could get a much better price per year if we did it for 2 years. In regards to Ajax, is something that we've been talking about for about a year or so, or probably more than a year. Something that the board had seemed happy, what was for it, and I agree. So there has to be absolutely more, not just more, but continuous training for everyone. So that if something needs to happen, unfortunately something happens, that they know how to use it and they feel comfortable using it. Not just know how to, but they feel comfortable using it. So, absolutely.
Then your next item under 11CK.
Is, page 6, the bottom where it says total kids entertainment will provide magic shows for students at Sunnyside. Service will be provided on April 1st, 2025. The sum does not exceed $550, will be paid by the April 1st is vacation day?
It says April 26th.
Yeah,
So my copy just said April 1st.
Correct, so the original copy that I provided, and then you brought it up to me, then we checked it and it's, yes, April 26th.
Okay.
So actually,
My questions about
she was the one that brought it up, that it was the wrong date.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Okay, thank you. And last one. It says the right next one under that, it says on July 10th, the board approved, this amount of money for $100,000 and now we're increasing for $150,000. So I wanna know, why are we doubling the amount from the beginning? Was it not, voted right or what? Why is that?
It's, Casey.
So this contract is for non-public agency aides to support students through their IEP process. And so as the school year goes on, more students require that level of service through their IEP. And so more aides are required through this contract.
And just, on this, Trustee Ramirez, what happens is that we can't predict who's gonna, how many students with IEPs are gonna require one, or how many will need one. So it's a prediction at the beginning of the school year, and it's very common that sometime during the school year, we increase it.
Thank you for the clarification. Check, I don't have any more.
Trustee Dominguez Cervantes, item 11CK.
Right, on page 4 of 8, also it was Ajax. Trustee Kenan also asked some of the questions, so one of my questions was about the training and the fact that some of the staff don't know how to use it, and I've witnessed where they've tried to bring it up and it takes a long time. If the intent was for it to be urgent, then that's a problem, so I just wanted an update on that and our scheduled drills happening.
Yeah, so, yeah, very good point, and which is the same as I mentioned to Trustee Ramirez. Absolutely, you're correct. People need to know, one, how to use it, but also feel comfortable using it. And it has to be something that if something happens, they can't be learning on the spot because the emergency is really problem. Totally agree with you. I'm gonna ask Mr. Romero to share with the board, what are the steps that we're taking or we will be taking to ensure that our staff is trained regarding the use of Ajax, and also if you can share what is the procedure to ensure that all sites are doing the emergency drills.
Great, so thank you. Since we shared this information at our last board meeting, for the month of February, we had trainings at 11 schools. So Feaster, Camarena, Allen, McMillan, Hillcrest, Palomar, Tiffany, Sunnyside, Marshall, Valladolid, and Easter. Easter's listed twice because they had just a training and also a drill that they were doing. For drills, Palomar, Tiffany, Sunnyside, Marshall, Valladolid were also additional schools that had drills in the month of February, which is with all staff.
Using the Ajax?
Using Ajax, yes. Yeah, so those drills, we want to coincide with what's happening regularly on campus, and the safety team is absolutely committed to this because we know that it reduces response time. When we fully implement it, it's hard to cost saving a life, right? But when fully implemented, we're able to circumvent dialing 911 and just get immediately connected to dispatch, to emergency dispatch. And I shared at one of our past meetings that at one of our schools where there was an incident where a child was hurt, fell off the bars, and by the time we were able to get to the schools, the ambulances were already there. So they beat the safety team getting there. So, but absolutely, one of the things that we want to make sure is that we continue to train our staff and get them already all thoroughly trained. And so the contract is for 2.5 years, 2 years and 3 months. And they did reduce the price. It used to be $3,750 per school site. The current contract is $1,500 per school site because they know that how committed Chula Vista is to this product. They reduced the cost by less than half because our neighboring school districts now are interested. So their meeting, Sweetwater School District met with us last week because they want to implement Ajax. And we have some strong bargaining people telling them like, okay, if you guys want us to be sharing this information with our neighboring districts, we need to get a really good price. So that's why the deal is for 2 years.
Other item on CK? Yes, on page 4 and 5 of 8 for MGT Impact Solutions. I just wanted to be clear on this district, is it a school district tested system to do what? And I wasn't sure if I was mixing it up with something that CBE President Rosie Martinez had previously inquired about last. I just don't know what the structure is.
Yeah, so we want to do a demographic study on, so right now, the southeast schools, for example, the Wolf Canyon, Munaoka, Jeffers, those schools, Camarena, Sotomayor, that area. The population growth is in that area. And so we want to do a demographic study to possibly change our boundaries to balance our schools. For example, we have Wolf Canyon, which has close to 1,000 students, and then we have Sotomayor with much less students. And so we want to be able to balance our population. Of course, we would be grandfathering the students that are there, et cetera, but we want to provide some balance.
Thank you.
Anything else under CK? Okay. This is an action item.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Vice President Tamayo, seconded by Trustee Ramirez Dominguez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 11D, Trustee Ramirez Dominguez.
I would like to propose an amendment or an addition actually to the paragraph that says, whereas women of diverse backgrounds serve as leaders in the forefront of forward-thinking social change and not only insecure their own rights of suffrage and the legal opportunity, but also to abolish slavery, promote fairness, equality, and safety of the workplace, and advance the modern civil rights movement. I would like to add of 1954 to 1968. Those are the dates of the women's rights and when women's suffrage was gained. So I feel like it's very important for us to highlight those dates also.
So you're motioning for a friendly amendment. Do we have a second?
I'll second
Is there any discussion? I know trustee Dominguez Cervantes, you also pulled this item.
No, I pulled, mine was in it.
Okay, maybe I checked off the wrong one, okay.
Can you read just the amendment again, please?
It would read the whole thing.
No, just what you're.
Okay. And safety in the workplace and advantage of the modern civil rights movement of 1954 to 1968.
Interesting, because that was the years of the suffrage.
Yes, those were the years of the women's suffrage movement.
Is there
I don't think it's women's stuff, well, it's a modern,
civil rights?
modern civil rights. I'm reading it.
Maybe she wants to read the whole thing.
Because modern, it says.
Political rights of women which went into force in 1954. Ensuring the equal rights of women to vote, hold office, and access public services as set out by national law.
Do you wanna add the whole sentence? You can add the whole sentence. Okay, so, let me take a vote on your first amendment, so that, because we did have a second, and then we'll revise it, so
How about we motion
motion,
to amend
amend the friendly, okay, so.
Yes.
It says, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Convention of the Political Rights of Women, which went into force in 1954. Ensuring equal rights to women to vote, hold office, and access to public services, as set forth by the national law.
Okay, can you send that to me over here so I can, and I'll write it out for Araceli.
Yeah.
So, do I have a second to that motion, adding the sentence?
I second it.
Thank you. Okay, any other discussion on the resolution? Okay, I just wanna, I applaud that the resolution was brought forward again, and with, this friendly amendment, because, people often talk about, you know, the movement that was starting with the right to vote, the suffrage movement, and, the political activity of, the movement that we just spoke of. But I also think about just in my lifetime, and I'm getting up there, but, when I was born, women couldn't hold a bank account without a male partner. We couldn't own a home, we couldn't run for office. And while we've made a lot of progress in this area from those movements, we still, and it's interesting to me, in the study of 2024, I almost dated myself, 2024, women make 85%, 85 cents to the dollar of what their male counterparts make. And I think that's one of the reasons why in our profession as teaching and in education, we still are not at the level of other professions in making the amount that we're worth. So I applaud, especially I think Ms. Corona was we were on the same mindset with regard to our thoughts this evening, because I also look at it as this dais and I see how much it has changed over the years, where sorry, Mr. Romero and Mr. Pong, but we are and Trustee Tamayo, I'm sorry. But we are a dais and a cabinet for Dr. Reyes of mostly women, and so I applaud this resolution. I'm glad we have a friendly amendment, and I will, since we have a first and second, ask all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously, thank you.
Madam President, a point of privilege, can
Yes.
we read it out loud?
Sure. We'll read it starting this way.
But she'll have to read the one that we stole.
Okay, so let's see, That's right, I'm gonna need,
She needs some peace.
well, let's see, if I start it, it'll get to trustee Tolston by that time.
Where are we? Which
Okay.
one was it? The one?
So,
Okay.
whereas Women's History Month is celebrated every March as a celebration of women's contributions to history, culture, and society.
And whereas Women's History Month is promoted by a yearly theme, which for 2025 is Moving Forward Together, Women Educating and Inspiring Generations, to honor women who have dedicated their lives to leadership, education, and mentorship, and
Whereas a woman of every race and ethnic background have contributed and continue to contribute to our country's triumphs and accomplishments in countless ways. And
whereas women of diverse backgrounds have served as leaders in the forefront of forward-thinking social change, not only to secure their own right of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also to abolish slavery, promote fairness, equality, and safety in the workplace, and advance the model civil rights movement, and the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Convention on the Political Rights of Women, which went into force in 1954, enshrining the equal rights of women to vote, hold office, and access public services as set out by national laws.
Whereas women have played and continue to play, I'm sorry, I stepped on you.
Oh my God.
Go ahead.
Women have played and continue to play a critical role in the economic, cultural, and social spheres of our nation's life by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working in and outside the home. And
whereas the role of women in history has been overlooked and undervalued in the past, though its significance is now emerging and assuming its rightful place as an important part of the body of the American and world history. And
whereas the Chula Vista Elementary School District has strong women leaders in classrooms and administrative positions, the most recent data indicates that nearly 85.23% of teachers are women. And
now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education declares the month of March 2025 as Women's History Month in the Chula Vista Elementary School District.
thank you, good job. I'm sorry about that again. I jumped. Okay, and no one pulled E, we passed that. I am going to talk about F with the caveat and the caution. This is a personnel item that we discussed in closed session. And so we have already had the discussion, and I know that both trustee Ramirez Dominguez and Dominguez Cervantes pulled the item. Discussion has taken place. Okay.
It was just on my notes.
If someone would like to make a motion.
I think I make a motion to approve the action item.
I second.
Okay, moved by trustee Dominguez Cervantes, seconded by trustee Ramirez Dominguez. All those in favor? Aye. Any abstentions?
abstain.
Any nays? Okay, motion carries 4-1. Item G, and I believe trustee Ramirez Dominguez, you pulled this as well?
Yeah. I would just like more clarification since the money amount was just given to me today, as to, what the $8 million entails.
Dr. Reyes?
Ms. Montgomery.
Okay, so just to give you a little bit of information, our current contract with Benchmark is ending this year. And we were in an 8-year contract to ensure that all of our classrooms had standards-based curriculum for each and every child at each and every grade level, which is a state-adopted curriculum. And so we are in the process right now of planning for next year to ensure that we have standards-based curriculum in each and every one of our classrooms for our students. So these materials include the materials for our teachers, for our students, to be able to teach whole group as well as small group instruction. And then it also includes this time, it includes ELD Express, which is specifically designed to support the needs of our students who are learning English. And then we also have materials that are also directly in support of our students who are learning in our classrooms with our students with disabilities. So this year we're including those classrooms as well, so that we ensure that each and every classroom, each and every grade level, each and every student has access to grade level appropriate standards-based curriculum. This is our district adopted curriculum.
Can you share how this curriculum supports our literacy program?
Yes, so the benchmark publishing and their process for developing curriculum is in alignment with the California state standards for both ELA and ELD, which is English Language Development. And the wall behind you has some examples of that, where you can see that the 5 pillars of literacy are also included in benchmarks. So the version that we're purchasing now that it has been updated will also include benchmark phonics. Previously, something like benchmark phonics and also the ELD Express, we had to purchase separately. In this round with this contract, that's all included. So it will be the core program as well as benchmark phonics and also ELD Express.
Thank you for clarifying. Trustee Ramirez,
She answered all the questions.
Thank you. This is an action item.
Move to approve.
Second?
Moved by Vice President Tamayo, seconded by Clerk Dominguez Cervantes. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item H, Trustee Ramirez Dominguez.
Yeah, so basically some reason, just a little bit of background into iReady. And second question, are all the schools already using? I remember they were trained, but I want to know if they're already using iReady.
So, Ms. Montgomery, could you share with the board what iReady does, and in regards to, first of all, that we're going to be going for a textbook math textbook adoption in the future, what we're doing now, and how we have a couple of schools that are using different curriculum, and why.
Okay, so when we are thinking about math, where we are right now is our current contract, again with iReady, is ending this year. We've been on a year-to-year contract in anticipation for the California Department of Education to provide a new list of approved standards-based curriculum for math. They're scheduled to have that list out next year, somewhere around November. And so we know that next year we will be looking at the standards and the framework and whatever that new list of materials is that will be approved by California State Board of Education. So what we're doing this year is ordering for 1 year for next year in an effort to really continue to maintain the district-wide curriculum. You know, as we are looking at our core instruction in every one of our classrooms, we want to ensure that our staff and our students have access to the same materials across the district. And you're correct, we recently finished up some math training, and that training was provided for each one of our grade levels so that they were familiar with the materials that iReady has. iReady provides not only the teacher guides and the student textbooks, it also has online supports and resources, as well as an assessment system which helps us to understand where our students are at. So we use that to inform the progress of our students as well as to help inform instruction.
I think we're still missing why some schools are not using.
Oh, okay, sorry about that, there were a lot of questions. So there are 2 schools, Jeffers and McMillan, who are using illustrative math. They have been using illustrative math for the past few years, and in that anticipation of a new adoption coming, you know, in the near future, we did not want to change the materials for those 2 schools and have them change twice. We wanted them to be able to maintain the continuity of the instruction, the materials, and that experience for our students as they move up the grade levels in those schools.
Thank you.
Any other questions about this item? It is an action item.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Vice President Tamayo, seconded by Trustee Ramirez Dominguez. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. I believe you pulled item G, trustee Ramirez, yes?
Approve MOU with Child and Family Wellbeing of HHSA of San Diego County for mandated reporting. I couldn't follow the second and third sentence of the background. Could you please explain specifically what this contract buys us?
Sure. Ms. Casey?
Hi. So this is a contract for our community schools, and they'll be providing a social worker to all our community schools to help support our school employees when they're filing mandated reporters from CPS, to change that into a community support for those families. Instead of just filing that report, they're actually going to be working alongside those families to help whatever process there was that caused that CPS report.
So our community school staffer will refer them to this particular social worker to handle it?
Correct.
Thank you,
And
that's
it's
great.
free of charge.
Yeah, that's
It
great.
doesn't cost the district.
Thank you.
This is an action item.
That's approved.
Second?
Moved by Vice President Tamayo, seconded by Clerk Dominguez Cervantes. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item K, trustee Ramirez Dominguez, you pulled this?
Yes. Adopt a resolution authorizing the utilization of Savannah School District bid for the purchase, lease, relocation, dismantling, and removal of division of the state. Architect approved, portable, yeah. So my question here is, I know that it was mentioned to me that usually we use other districts, other schools' bids. I just wanna know, is this the most cost effective? Or would it be better for us to actually have a bid? Dr. Reyes?
Yeah, so actually this is the most cost-effective way, because we're bundling bids versus us being the single source of the bid.
So we bring whoever their bids was?
Correct.
But we don't offer our own, like, we don't offer it to our community to do it?
So this is offered throughout, and so anyone that wants to bid, they go through them, and we get the lowest, so they're gonna get the lowest one, and so therefore we get the same one, the lowest one. So it is the most cost-effective way of doing it.
Okay.
That actually raises, that's a good question. So Savannah School District, where is that? Up north somewhere?
The city of Savannah, no, I'm not sure.
But my point being is that whoever bid for those contracts there, well, more than likely not some of our Chula Vista community members that might have a business to do. I'm not saying specifically this, but for this type of contracting, wouldn't it also seem logical that we're partnering with our community and offering the bids here locally also? How would they wouldn't bid on the one in Savannah necessarily unless they were a huge company because they can do it.
Very good.
Dr. Reyes?
So the ones that we piggyback on are the ones that are the big contracts for example, IT equipment. The ones, if we're gonna be doing things, for example, construction or any kind of remodeling, let's say we're gonna be doing blinds for schools, it's for a particular school, we're gonna be changing the blinds, that would be locally.
This is an action item.
Motion to approve.
I second.
Moved by trustee Ramirez Dominguez, seconded by trustee Tolston. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item 10M, trustee Ramirez Dominguez.
Yes, I wanted just to confirm, Power School, for the amount of $21,000 is for website hosting, service provided through School Messenger. Is this website or texting? I'm also a little confused.
So in this case, can you explain the difference, for example, Power Schools, how we use Power Schools for registration and then we have you just explain Power Schools.
Sure. So Power Schools hosts our website and our registration platforms. So that's the forward facing to the public, so things that you look at on our website that helps the public communicate with us and register is through Power Schools.
That's why it's only for 6 months? Or do we renew every 6 months?
No, so we're in the process of having another website provider. So we want to be able to transition. As we transition, we want to be without the website. So we want to be able to transition, have both as we transition.
Thank you.
Any other questions about item M? It is an action item.
Move to approve.
I second.
Moved by Vice President Tamayo, seconded by Trustee Tolston. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimous. Abstention? Okay, 4-1. Motion carries 4-1, one abstention. Item O, Trustee Tamayo.
Yes, I just wanted to thank the Chula Vista Elks Club for donating $840 to the Palomar Elementary School for 6th grade camp. I wanted to note that, and I move to approve.
Second. Moved by Vice President Tamayo, seconded by Trustee Dominguez Cervantes. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. And then item Q, Trustee Ramirez Dominguez. Oh, was it you? I thought it was both, yeah, because I put a mark on here that it was both.
Okay, perfect. For the travel, I see that we have Adelante Mujer for, I think it's $7,000. It says various people going, so I just wanted to know, who's coming and, yeah.
Dr. Reyes?
Actually, when you mentioned it, because Adelante Mujer Conference is a great opportunity for our students to attend, our young girls to attend. And basically it is for students, for girls, and for parents to attend. The cost is $15 per student or parents.
I have $1,350 as the total update.
And the expense also covers bus transportation for them to and from UCSD.
My question's been answered.
Okay. It's an action item.
Motion to approve.
Who seconded it?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Clerk Dominguez Cervantes, seconded by Trustee Tolston. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Public hearing. Oh no, at this time I would like to welcome Mr. Romero to announce our newly hired and promoted employees.
Thank you. The list is a little short today, because we just had this like a couple of weeks ago, but it's my pleasure tonight to introduce our newly promoted employees. So that section. Right. So it's my pleasure tonight to introduce Nadia Nielsen, who's moving from Child Nutrition Services 1 to bus attendant. Congratulations, Nadia. Victor Saralongo, who's moving from Custodian 2 to Gardener Groundskeeper. Congratulations, Victor. And that concludes our promoted employees.
Thank you. Public hearings. The public hearing section provides the public with the opportunity to address the board on specific items. Persons wishing to address the board on any public hearing item must complete a request to be heard card and submit it to the recording secretary before the start of the meeting. Speakers are requested to limit their remarks to 3 minutes and speak in a respectful and professional manner. The board shall limit the total time for input on each public hearing item to 20 minutes with board consent. The president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public comments on each public hearing item depending on the topic and number of persons wishing to be heard. We're conducting a public hearing on the discontinuance of certain classified services and adopting a resolution on the discontinuance of certain classified services for the 25-26 school year. We have one speaker, Ms. Angela Reed. Oh, I'm opening the hearing, sorry.
I'll be brief. These 4 people, because they are positions people, are not being technically laid off. They are being promoted into a new position. with, and I won't say it's a 20% raise because it's a 7.5% raise, but it will be an additional of at least 20% more salary because of the additional hours, days. And I do believe that I worked very closely with the director of these 4 employees to get them a better working conditions and better salary. So thank you very much and please approve.
Thank you. Seeing no more speakers, I'm now closing the public hearing.
Yes.
And this is an action item.
I move to approve.
Second. Moved by trustee Tolston, seconded by clerk Dominguez Cervantes. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Administrative actions. Approve revisions to the fiscal year 24-25 budget. Approve the second interim financial report at the January 31st, 2025, and certify the district's financial status for the fiscal year 24-25. Mr. Pong.
Thank you and good evening, President Ugarte, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Reyes, and members of the public. Tonight we're here to for your review and approval of the second interim budget, which is our actuals as of January 31st. When we look at our general fund at first interim, we're recognizing an increase on revenue of about $7 million, bringing us up to $407 million at second interim. On the expenditure side, we're recognizing about $6.5 million in expenditures, bringing us up to $442.5 million. So that changes our decrease in the fund balance at second interim by about $600,000 in the positive. When we look at our ending fund balance, we're seeing a decrease from $170 million down to $134 million. Of that $134 million, we have $835,000 in non-spendable, which is our revolving cash and warehouse commitments of $48.5 million, which we'll see more on in future slides. And then we have restricted funds of $62.5 million, leaving us with a reserve for economic uncertainty of $22.7 million or 5.1%. When we look at our unrestricted versus the restricted, we can see here that we have a decrease on our unrestricted of $16.2 million, decrease in our restricted of $19.3 million for a total of $35.5 million decrease. When we look at the health of the district, we really want to focus on the unrestricted side of the budget because that's where we have our discretion. On the restricted side, we receive funds for specific actions, so we have to spend in alignment with those grants that we receive. When we look at the revenue changes, we had a decrease to our local control funding formula revenue of about $1 million. We're recognizing a decrease of about 1% to our ADA from the first interim. When we look at our federal revenues, we're recognizing some changes in our allocations and some of our federal programs, Title I, II, and III. At our state revenues, we're recognizing an increase of about $800,000. We received additional funds for some new grants, so an early education grant, UPK, and a small change to lottery. And then locally is where there's the largest increase of $7 million, and this is due to 2 grants that we're recognizing. The CYBHI that we had mentioned for mental health services at $1.1 million in revenue for the implementation of that program, and then $4.8 million in the CalShape revenue for work to be done with our HVAC units. And then we had another $1 million in Medi-Cal revenue. That makes up the $7 million. When we look at our expenditures, our salary and benefits represent our expenditures through January 31st. So we're recognizing an increase of about $3 million. There was an increase for substitute costs. there was, since in our December meeting, we settled on benefits with CVE, so that was included in this. And then we also, as Ms. Casey mentioned before, as our special ed student population increases, there's a need for some increase in staff due to caseloads. Other major increase was in our services and other operating expenses. And this is where we're recognizing that implementation for the software of the CYPHI grant, the CalShape reporting. We had some settlement agreements, and then also some increase in special ed contract. So when we look at the our district commitments, we have reservations for safety and security measures, vehicle and equipment replacement, student and staff device replacement, textbook replacement, and other one-time expenditures, which we'll see a little more detail on. So when we look at our vehicle and equipment replacement, we're replacing our fleet vehicles, mainly in our maintenance and operations department. We're replacing our school buses. We have other student transportation vehicles, vans that we use to transport smaller groups of students, and then also our landscaping equipment. When we look at our student and staff devices, we're projecting about 14,500 devices that we're needing to be replaced. When we look at our safety measures, we're currently looking at installing bus cameras on our buses. We also have a new requirement starting next school year where each classroom is required to have a stop the bleed kit. We're looking at our emergency radios as the one that we have now is being phased out, the model that we have. We are looking at some fencing projects. We have our Ajax software, router software, our school resource officers, after hours response. Those are staff members who respond in the evening and on weekends to emergencies on campuses. And then we also have our safety staff and other needs. When we look at our textbook replacement, we're looking at math adoption, and then a subsequent history and social science adoption. And then our other one-time expenditures, we have counselors, behavior and instructional aides, psychologists, instructional aides, assistant principals, and other support staff that we're currently funding with one-time funds. And then we also are anticipating additional increase to our special ed contribution as our caseload increases. When we look at our multi-year projection, we can see here that we're going from 16.2 million deficit spending up to just under 20 million in the second year and 18.6 million in the third year. We can see on the commitments that we're having to pull from the commitments to fund this the deficit spending. And we can see that we're also pulling from our unrestricted reserve. It's going from 5.1% down to 3.8%. So in the chart below, we can see the top line is our district desired 8% reserve. The blue line that's at a slight decline is our unrestricted, and then the red line is the 3% state reserve. And this is all based off of the current COLA that we received at the January proposal. So it's currently 25-26 at 2.43% COLA, which was a 0.5% reduction, and 26-27 is at 3.5%. These are just projections. We don't know if we will get to the 3.5%, but based on our current spending and the deficit that we're seeing, if we look at another year, 27-28, we would be going below that 3% line. So that's why it's imperative that we start to look at budget reductions over these next couple of years. So looking ahead, we're looking at awaiting the governor's May revision, which we'll have our final budget off of. We're continuing our 25-26 budget planning, the implementation of the Children and Youth Behavior Health Initiative, that's UIBHI grant. We're planning for full implementation of transitional kindergarten starting next year, so all 4-year-olds have the option of transitional kindergarten. And then we're also faced with potential federal funding cuts. So some of our major funding federal funds are to child nutrition, Title I, special education, and there's a lot of other smaller grants. And with that, I will leave it to any questions.
We have no speakers on this item. Board questions or comments?
This is just the guesstimate based on the information you have. We still have that May revise, so some of these numbers very likely might change.
Correct, that is stuff today. So that's a projection that we have based on the today numbers. And that's why in the cool-down, even though we know we're pretty certain that we're not gonna have that high of a cola, we still have to put it in because that's what we're being told.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Fong. This is an action item.
Let's get approved.
Second.
Moved by Vice President Tamayo, seconded by Clerk Dominguez Cervantes. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. The next administrative action item is to approve the agreement with Brookwood Partners for implementation and development of the district workforce housing project in the amount of $1,144,000 for the period of March 6, 2025 through the completion of the project. Mr. Pong.
Thank you, President Ugarte. And this item is for our employee staff housing. We've been working with Brookwood on a feasibility study, and now we're moving to the next phase of the actual design of the 86-unit apartment complex, employee housing complex. So this contract would include architect, landscape architect, the civil engineering, and any other consultants that would be required to move forward with the planning for this.
There are no speakers on this item. Questions, comments?
So the $1.1 million are for architects for the design of the project. And do we have a timeline for them? Because I see it starts tomorrow. Do we need the design team all the way through the completion of the project? That was my question.
Dr. Reyes?
Yeah, so what it is they gotta give us different, so we know that it's gonna be 86 units. But what they do is they give us different proposals. The land can hold much more than 86 units, so they give us proposals for sort of like a master plan regarding other possible future buildings. For example, if we're gonna be building additional units, or are we gonna be using that to create a performing arts center? You know, depending on different needs, they create different proposals, different master plans. So as they set it up now, we're projecting what it could be in the future and what we could do it by different phases.
So we are positively considering more units than just 86.
Correct, and that would depend on the board's direction. The board, so right now, the subcommittee which consists of 2 trustees, Trustee Dominguez Cervantes and Trustee Tamayo, they have been meeting with this company. And so the direction on what to do next would come from you.
Trustee Dominguez Cervantes?
I just wanted to share that I appreciate that both bond measures that we may be tapping into are identified. I appreciate that. Thank you.
This is an action item.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by trustee Tolston, seconded by vice president Tamayo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next administrative action is to adopt a resolution authorizing the Chula Vista Elementary School District to seek reimbursement for material decrease of average daily attendance. Mr. Pong?
On February 3rd, there was a social movement day known as a Day Without Immigrants that encouraged students to stay home from school. And we have these schools listed here that have been impacted, and we can attempt to file for the ADA loss when it's greater than 10% at a school site. So this is to potentially recover that ADA.
Thank you.
And
Any
I say
questions?
potential because it's not guaranteed.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved by trustees Dominguez Cervantes, seconded by vice president Tamayo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Our last administrative action item is to appoint a board member to the policy review committee that was left vacant with trustee Fernandez is moving to city council. Dr. Reyes.
Correct, so as you know, we have subcommittees. And one of the subcommittees is the board policy review committee, subcommittee. The subcommittee composed of 2 board members. Currently we have trustee Tamayo. We had trustee Fernandez, but he left. So now we need one additional one. And what this subcommittee does is they review the board policies that we put forward. So before it comes to as an board item, they review it, the new board policies. So at this point, the board would entertain a motion to,
We have no speakers on this item. It is an action item to appoint a board, a board member to the policy review committee.
I would make a motion to appoint trustee Tamayo and trustee Ugarte since they have the most experience on the board so far.
Do I have a second? I don't think we need to add you because you're already on the committee.
So maybe add trustee Ugarte.
Is there a second?
To accept the nomination.
I do policies with passion.
And I just volunteer you.
Second.
Motion by trustee Tolston, seconded by vice president Tamayo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions?
I just have a question.
Okay.
So when you work on these policies, you bring them and ask for input and they can provide, they'll come here.
So part of the process is that it used to be that the policies would be reviewed by the district and then just brought to the entire board. But then we would have multiple questions. So to minimize those questions, then we created the subcommittee, and then that way the district would present the change first to the subcommittee. The subcommittee would have input, mostly because we kind of understand where our values are and what our focus is going to be on the policies, to try to minimize the questions and make sure that everybody that needs to be talked to or participate into that policy has had an opportunity to participate.
Is there a turnaround time for these different, I know we had some, but then.
So there's normally a cadence, right, that we have with meeting. We try to meet every month to address multiple policies. There's several policies in board policies that we need to update. If you look into our board policy directory, you can see several that haven't been touched in years. I know that there's a policy that we have pending, but because Caesar left, we haven't been able to meet as a committee. So that's why it was urgent to build the committee again so we can move forward and bring policies. The idea or what I would try to commit to the board is that we are expedient on the request from the board if they request a review to put it as a priority on our agenda, so we can move forward with.
That I'm aware of, I think we have two.
Yes, you have the dress policy and the other one, the cell phones, yes.
That's all.
Okay.
Okay, so, just so I can hear the vote again, it was moved by trustee Tolson, seconded by vice president Tamayo. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. And our first and second reading board policies, administrative regulations, and board bylaws. The first reading and second reading possible revision, proposed revisions to board policy 4020, drug and alcohol-free workplace. Mr. Romero.
President of the Norte Governing Board and Superintendent Dr. Reyes, it's my pleasure to bring forward revisions to board policy 4020. As Vice President Tamayo mentioned, some of our board policies have been updated, in this case, 23 years. So this is a reflection of current education codes, government codes, Drug and Free Workplace Act, Drug and Free School Committees, amendments, and the United States Code Title 21 and Code of Federal Regulations Title 21. And it's recommended that we bring forward these revisions in alignment with all those aforementioned laws and codes.
Thank you. Any board questions or comments with regard to this policy?
Just, if you could direct me where in this policy it addresses new employees or even existing employees when they have cannabis in their system?
Dr. Reyes?
Yes, give me 1 second. Oh, here we go. Number 3. Seventh line. Under the definition,
Is it considered controlled if it's legal?
Yes, it says and it does say cannabis there.
illegal or controlled.
Not that I think it's okay. I don't want somebody taking a smoke break and it's really, they need to not do that while they're at school.
I think what Dr. Reyes was referencing, it says where examples of illegal drugs include but are not limited to, and then the controlled substance is cannabis substance such as marijuana and hashish. So it's listed there. Any other questions about the policy? We can approve it at this time if you so choose.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved by trustee Ramirez Dominguez, seconded by vice president Tamayo. All those in favor?
Aye.
And motion carries unanimously. Report calendar to the Board of Education. This is the point in the board where we ask for any reports from the superintendent. Trustee Ramirez Dominguez, do you have any?
Yeah. It's come to my attention of a PRA that was requested and denied. I would like for that to be reconsidered and possibly actually approved.
Okay.
Okay, so just, on that one, we go through legal, so it's our legal department is the one that reviews that.
So what follows?
So it's not, so for PRAs and there's certain requirements, certain laws that we need to adhere to. It's not the votes from the trustees is what our legal recommends.
And some of our records, even though we're a public entity, we are employees, for example, some of their personal information has to be protected. So sometimes they'll deny it for that.
So there's nothing to that decision, could it be changed? I know it's not something to discuss here, I just wanna know if there's.
So, I'm not sure what, I mean, we get a lot of PRAs, so I'm not sure which one you're talking about, and we should, I don't think we should discuss it here. But it's, any PRA, what happens is, we do go through a process and procedure where we look at the legal, what is legally required and what is not.
Any other reports, requests? Well, I would just like to suggest that we have a running list. 'Cause I know several times different board members, we ask for different ones, and if maybe we can have a running list with like which board requested in August of 2024, what report was it? And then check off completed, just so that we get a sense of completion.
So what I can do, because sometimes it's a report, sometimes it's a board update, and what I can do is I can do both. I can, so for example, if it's a board update, I can, on the board update, I can have a list and just, for example, let's say we do it this Friday, and then we just check on the date. And if it's a report, we can do the report of the future reports.
That would really help, because for reference, I could go back and look, because what sometimes I visualize as being a report is not necessarily what you visualize being a report.
Correct.
And it's, we had one that was and I'm thinking, that's not a report, but you thought it was a report, so, thank you.
And the only thing that I asked, unless it's time sensitive, the only thing that I ask is that the board provides some leeway in regards to certain reports that are not crucial or time sensitive, that if need be, because we don't want to extend the board meeting till 2 o'clock, that sometimes might be moved to the next month.
So we had spoken earlier about, in our agenda review, about FIGMAT and the changing of some of the parameters. If you could give us an update on that, I don't know if this is the appropriate time, Trustee Ugarte, that he shares this.
He can give us the report.
Update on what, because we thought we were gonna see it today.
I recall he said if they could get back to him in time because we were such close meeting. So can you tell us what they said, because I know it was close and it couldn't get on the agenda.
Give me 1 second. So, correct, so I went ahead and reached out to FIGMAT, and I shared information last time regarding what they said. While talking to cabinet, we decided to actually expand it, because if we're gonna be doing one for HR, might as well do also one for our fiscal department. So I went ahead and reached out to them to give us a quote for both departments, HR and fiscal, and they're working on that. They did share that. Do you mind if I read it? Yeah. So they sent an email regarding what's been happening and why it's taking time. Because I just want to make sure that I communicate with you, because it affects how quickly we can engage with your districts. Because of the fires down in LA, we've been asked by Sacramento Powers that to be engaged with any district and or charter that has been affected by the fires, to do some fiscal analysis for current and 2 years out, and make recommendations on how the state could provide relief through legislation. That, along with 6 new triggered fiscal health risk analysis that we're required to do, we're keeping pause on our new work coming in until we can get those through those. We probably won't be able to engage with your district for 6 to 8, my understanding was that it was weeks in terms of field work, or at least that's my best guess. So if it can be done sooner, then I will let you know. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a quote from them and the contract. So we can bring it to the board to get it approved, and then just wait for them to finish and be ready so they can start the work.
That sounds good. Good idea. And if you could give the community an update on Rogers Elementary and the status of the principal or lack of, or whatever's going to happen.
Sure. So a couple of things. One is we posted a position for the principal position. We had several.
When? For Rogers, you posted it?
For Rogers, it was posted the first round. It was posted. We held interviews. We did invite staff, both certificated, classified, and parents to be part of the interview process. We did have 2 finalists that went to the next round with a cabinet interview. Cabinet did not feel that either one of them had what Rogers truly needs. It's an amazing school, it's a great program, but it has very unique needs. So we want to make sure that we have the right person and the right fits for that school. So we reposted the position again. I know that right now, currently, Mr. Tom Rodrigo is the one that is covering as principal acting principal of the school, because he is retired principals that work for the whole year. We're gonna be having another principal cover for a short amount of time, and then another acting principal will
Another
retiree will continue. Now, in the meantime, we are providing non-living services. I know that our senior director that just left, she is there twice a week, at least 4 hours per day, and has helped tremendously to take care of the acting principal does a lot of the day-to-day needs, and the senior director helps really with things that, for example, evaluations, master schedule, ordering stuff, things that are more of that leadership component. We also have other folks that are helping out at Rogers, and we're actively seeking someone to support. Just, we are actively seeking. It's open, it's posted, and the way we did it this time, we didn't put a closing time, we did it until filled. That way, if we get 4 applicants, we can interview them, and we don't need to wait till it closes. As soon as we get 3 or 4, we can interview them, and then we can continue. If you don't have the right one, we can continue interviewing.
And I think it might behoove us to send the community, the parents, a little update on what's going on, since I believe the current substitute principal, the last day is Friday, and so the parents are.
Correct. So my understanding was that either tonight or tomorrow morning, the message was going to be sent, was going to be communicated to staff and parents.
And I would like to encourage us to get ahead of it instead of behind it. So since we knew this was going to happen, well, not me personally, but someone knew, to have gotten ahead of it versus the community already knows that principal's leaving, so they're speculating different things. It's not fair.
Absolutely. I agree.
Okay, and I brought it up before, and I believe in the last month, we were talking about the common assessments that were taken an hour for each one-on-one, and you were going to be looking into something. When am I going to get that feedback? The frustration was that it takes away the teacher and it deprives the student from instruction when the teacher is spending 1 hour away with each child. So if you multiply it and do the math, we're depriving children of instructional time. So I was wondering, and we talked about it months ago too, about, of course, if we were loaded with money, we would just have someone that was specialized that could go in through these classrooms, instructional aid, TOSA, someone that could do that actively and not impact. And it would be standardized because it'd be the same one or two persons doing it the same way.
And I apologize, I thought we had covered that last week, but Ms. Morales, can you share?
Yes, so what we did is instructional services sent out a reminder to the teaching staff in the ISS newsletter, reminding them of the modifications that had been made to the, especially the end of the year assessments to ensure that teachers felt they had enough testing and teaching time as well. So for example, in grades 3rd through 6th, they focus on the CASP test at the end of the year, and then the local measures would come after it, but they do not have to take any of these CFAs anymore. And so what I can do is I actually have it printed here. We sent out also teachers an updated assessment timeline that have all of the changes noted in yellow, and I'd be happy to include that as well as the newsletter in the next folder.
Great idea.
And Ms. Morales, while you're at it, because I know that there was also a question regarding Chief. And last board meeting, you mentioned, you shared with the board that we were gonna be continuing for next year at Chief, but that we were gonna be sending the notification out to inform people that we're gonna be continuing. Have we done that?
Yes, we have. We've communicated that to principals as well as the teaching staff in the ISS newsletter.
And speaking of tests, when the teacher presents the parent with their child's report card, I know we spoke about a key, having a legend or something, because we talked about how does a 2 approaching differ from a 3 nearly met, and same test or same result could be evaluated differently by 2 different teachers, and it's the same document, the same test.
So I know that that was mentioned by, I think either last board meeting or the one before. I don't, Ms. Montgomery, you've been working with the committee on that?
Okay. So one of the things that we did, we discussed this as a team in ISS and talked about the current system for report cards, and all of the materials were actually provided and created within a committee, and that was done in collaboration with CVE. And so what we did is we reviewed all of those materials and ensured that they're accessible on our website, as well as for the past 2 weeks, we have been providing links to those materials in our ISS newsletter, so that our teachers know right where those materials are. Those materials do include not only the report card itself, but supporting materials to help teachers understand the ways in which they can gather information and evidence for students and be able to report out whether they're a 1, 2, or 3, or 4, and what that means. So when we're thinking about standards-based reporting, sometimes what might happen is a teacher may rely on a single test or a single project. But we really are moving towards, and we've provided training as well as those support materials to encourage our teachers to really look at progress over time and a body of evidence. So when we're looking at reporting out standards-based grades, we're looking at a body of evidence. And that is something that we are also discussing as far as what assessments we'll be doing in the future in our assessment committee. That's all in collaboration with CVE, and we have members across the district from many different schools from CVE, as well as representatives from AACB.
And how often are you meeting to review these? We just brought it up again 2 months ago, or 2 meetings ago?
Right,
2 months ago.
we met, and we not only did we review those materials, we talked to our communications department to make sure that the website has been updated and that all those materials are easily accessible. In addition, there has been a recent CVESD parent university, and I went to that to be able to provide that information and be in dialogue and conversation with our parents directly, so that they also have that information. So on our website, we're making sure that we have that information easily accessible to teachers for the teacher components, and then to parents for the parent components.
That's good to know because the ones who brought this to my attention is teachers. So, how many people did you have at your parent university? How
I
many
would say
parents?
there were about.
Not staff,
Yeah.
parents.
Parents, well, there were also some students there, so we engaged the students as well. But there were probably about 6.
Thank you. It's
Any reports?
Yes. Okay, so the first one, I would like to get a status on what's happening at Millen. I know there's been some reports that communication has not been optimal with what's happening with the principal, and that could be an update on the private letter. The second, I would like a presentation on how we're going to implement second chance breakfast with the preference of starting with the community schools. Then I would like a
board update?
presentation. The next one can be a board update. What is the process to donate a digital marquee for a school?
digital marquee.
A digital marquee. And the next one, and sorry if I missed that on the update, have we scheduled a training for board members?
Really, you're taking my report.
Yes, so, we're very close, so we wanna find the right person, because we wanna be able to train, not just the Brown Act. I mean, not everyone can do the Brown Act, but I think it behooves us, since we're in the middle of, we just got to grow. I mean, it's very diverse, we have someone who's been here for many years. So, 4.5, 2, we have different time on the board and experiences, etc. I think it behooves us not just to learn about the Brown Act and you know, what individual board members can do or not do or as units, but also to do some kind of like team building opportunity for the whole board on how to work as a team, even if there's differences in opinion, still working as a team. So I'm trying to find the right person, not just someone that just provides information. That one we can find anyone, anytime. So I'm very close. I should hopefully find someone by Monday or Tuesday. And once I connect with that person, then I said I will reach out to each of you and find a time to do that. We're looking at maybe 2 hours or 2.5 hours. Ideally, it would be on a Saturday, but since we want to do it in March, then it would probably have to be on a weekday, you know, after 4 or after 5.
Okay, because I feel that our newest board members are a little bit on a disadvantage if they don't have that training.
Absolutely.
And there's scheduled vacations and
Yes.
things like that, so.
Also, I would like that report. What is our current formula for custodians? And are we using the formula that CASPO provides? And that's Friday afternoon.
My report, and I'm sorry whoever this creates work for, I think that it would be in our Friday updates, we need to start seeing how federal legislation or federal directives are impacting our district. So, for example, if a program is cut because of something that comes down from a federal directive, and it could be nothing. If it's this week, there's nothing that's impacting us, that's great. But I think if we can have a section on there as to how that we're being impacted by those directives, that would be very helpful. All right, members of the Board of Education, communications to the public, this is the opportunity to talk about what we've done in the last 2 weeks. Trustee Ramirez Dominguez.
So I had the honor of visiting Lauderback Elementary School. It was a great experience. And I learned so much. First of all, they explained the mural in the front, which is it's so good depiction of what we just heard for one of our speech and the community and the importance of the generational wisdom in community. And they pride themselves in that. I asked like what is something that you guys pride yourselves with, and the principal was so kind to tell me like their community, they pride themselves in the community connections and the generational and multi-generational connections that they have. And I was able to just tour the school and see how from TK all the way to 6th grade, they're really focusing on reading and getting that done in a cohesive, comprehensive way, which was amazing to see. So it was a great visit. I loved doing that. I also had the opportunity to attend the speech contest, not only the finals but before on Monday, and I was in awe. I was floored completely of the amazing students, of the amazing effort that they put, and I saw just great leaders of the future being built by our community, and that literally fills me with joy and honor to be part of this board that allows them to continue doing a great job. And also I want to recognize, as we had Ms. Rosie say, President Rosie mentioned how the support system was very evident and how parents and teachers, principals, coaches, and all the hours and effort for them to show up and do such a great effort shows that they just had that family support. Lastly, I was able to go to Hafari Jeffers to participate in Read Across America, and it was also an honor just to share with the students about reading and how important it is and life lessons, and it was great. I still want to thank them for inviting me, and I look forward to going to this week. I will also go and read to different schools. So that's my report. Thank you very much.
I had the opportunity to attend Chula Vista had a first responders assembly. So they invited our firefighters and acknowledged them and thanked them. It was very nice. I love seeing how, engaging community with the school. The firefighters were so appreciative of that. I don't know how many letters they took home. I think every 900 students gave them letters, I think. So that was great. But the most enjoyable part of that, and again, President Rosie said that she mentioned the nominations for Teachers of the Year. And I think the most enjoyable part of that was to see the interaction between all of the staff and the students. I was standing to the side, and I'm watching, just the whole staff, administrative, classified, teachers, everybody, they treat the children as their own. I mean, if a kindergartner has to get up for some reason to use the restroom, the coordination of making sure that they get to where they need to be, all eyes on the child. I mean, I just appreciate that very much, and I'm just, again, in awe of what everybody does every day. That was that, and I saw it again at Veterans, I think yesterday. I had the opportunity to go to Read Across America, and that was so enjoyable. Again, the teachers, how they manage the students in the classroom, and I got to read with 5th and 6th graders. And I thought that was going to be a challenge, they're older, but I really enjoyed interacting with them. They had a lot more comments and questions and a lot more relaxed than sitting with kindergartners that make me very nervous when they're looking at me. And I wanted to, I didn't attend this, and I saw it today on social media on the district website, Bailando and the Viajando por el Mundo. I would love to attend something like that, so if I have the opportunity, I saw the video that was posted and I was just amazed by it. And so I'm really interested in something like that if I get the opportunity to attend, and props to them, and just from this little minute video that I was able to see.
I had the opportunity to attend this big festival at Tiffany Elementary, and Dr. A's was there. They had all these booths, they had auctions, they had the oldie cars. I mean, one of the guys with the oldie cars is friends with my son, and I'm like, oh my gosh, so I get to talking, and then we get to finding out that our families know each other. It was a lot of fun. It was really nice to see some of the original staff there. from 50 years ago. House Mayor Cheryl Cox, Ms. Elaine Thompson, one of the first principal, Mr. Carroll was there, our Rochelle and her husband were there. That was really nice. Celebrations are always cool. I attended the Castle Park Blacktop Assembly. They gave me this huge poster and the kids worked so hard on their pictures and they were showing themselves some of the donations that I, sent over. And so that was really nice. They gifted me with flowers. Full disclosure, I brought them right here and I gave them to Araceli to please share with the district staff here. And Dr. Reyes was there too. There was music, there was dancing.
She danced, that's right.
The kids love that stuff. They had their cultural music. Dr. Reyes was like, I tell my kids, do you guys think I was born old? And I also participated in Read Across America at Vista Square. I had the opportunity to read to Maud Severe class there, and kindergarten class and a second grade class. At Veterans, I also had the opportunity to read to the children there, and it just reminded me of the hard work that the teachers and the staff, the certificated, in class, they just work so hard to provide that nurturing, caring, and trying to give them a learning environment, and just even to get the children, to some of the children to sit down is a huge accomplishment. Really appreciate them, and I told the principals as much. Please let them know. Ms. Rosie, if you could please let them know, I really appreciate their hard work, and Ms. Angela as well. And the best classified in there, which was great. Thank you. And I also had the opportunity at Vista Square to, and I'll show you some pictures. I think we have some homework there to do, and we got a bond measure passed. And so I think we should fix a few things in there that are falling apart, and I'll share those pictures there with you too. I think it's good for us to make some of the rounds and just take a look at what's become normal to them should not. Because they come to these schools and they're wowed, because they have some of these programs, lead programs that we have in the summer and Christmas break. They come to these lead projects or programs and they see these, they think they're in like this huge vacation. So let's take a look at that. So it was lots of fun. I also had a phone conference, we just met 2 weeks ago, with President Rosie Martinez and also President Angela Reed. Very short, but we were able to touch bases. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. Trustee Summary?
Nothing much to report, but I do want to acknowledge the work that went into getting a resolution to piggyback on a bid to fix our playgrounds. Thank you for putting that as a priority for our kids. I do want to acknowledge the work and provide my thank yous. That's it.
2 weeks went by really fast. I do want to thank Assemblymember David Alvarez's office and Assemblymember David Alvarez for acknowledging our students, because I think that was very important that they be recognized, as they will be taking over his job sometime soon. So the students did a great job, and anytime that they can get recognition like that, I know how much it means to them. So I want to thank him for sending Sammy Couchman to present those awards to our students. And now we will, and I do want to wish everyone a well-deserved break in 12 duty days. And to enjoy that time off. I know that this is one of the long stretches that it's really hard to get through, and we appreciate all of our staff, all of our classified, all of our teachers and social workers and counselors and our principals and assistant principals because spring fever has sprung. Dr. Reyes?
I want to thank everyone for all your hard work. Happy Women's Month, and good night.
The next regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Chula Vista Elementary School District will be held on April 16th, 2025 at 4 p.m. for closed session and 6 p.m. for open session. Do we have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Moved by trustee Tolston, seconded by trustee Ramirez Dominguez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion